happened here in the UK, but it has happened in the US, and a lot of people will have heard about a very similar case over the false claims made about the Sandy Hook school shooting.
Yes, and this case involving Alex Jones over in America. Alex Jones is a talk show host. He's an infamous conspiracy theorist, and one who has pushed these really quite shocking conspiracies about the Sandy Hook shooting that happened in 2012 in the US, suggesting that it was staged, it was faked, and it was the families of people affected by that attack who decided to take him to court, and they won, and he was ordered by a US court to pay nearly $1.5 billion in damages. We don't expect quite so much money to be involved here, but Martin, at least, and his legal team have told me that they really think this could set a precedent, and certainly that it shows us how the case that unfolded in the US has set a precedent here in the UK, and perhaps could further around the world.
Because conspiracy theorists like Richard D. Hall just won't accept reality. They persist in repeating these lies and causing distress. So it's a very difficult case, isn't it? Because you have to deal with people like that, but at the same time there are also concerns about freedom of expression.
There are, and it's interesting, since the investigation went out, at the time I confronted Richard D. Hall at the market stall where he worked and where he was selling a book and DVDs promoting these theories. He told me I was wrong about how he operated, but since then he's posted online continuing to suggest that the Manchester Arena attack was staged in some ways, and also taking aim at other disappearances or disasters that have happened. In response to a legal letter sent by Martin's team, he again doubled down and continued to push this stuff. How it's dealt with is a question that policymakers, social media companies, people all over the world are grappling with, and there is always that question: do we risk silencing or censoring people? I certainly think for Martin, and having interviewed him on several occasions now, he strongly believes in freedom of expression, but for him there's a line, and he feels like it's the courts that are the only place he can seek the justice that he so wants.
Mariana, thank you. Mariana Spring there. Now, think back to a time before you recognise these sounds. Years ago today, Marty Cooper of the Motorola Telecoms Company made the first ever public mobile phone call. But the handset he used back in 1973 was a far cry from the sleek and powerful smartphones we use today. Our technology editor, Zoe Kleinman, has interviewed Mr. Cooper, who is now 94.
There were no cordless phones. There were no large-scale integrated circuits. The digital camera hadn't been invented. The internet didn't exist. And I was standing on 6th Avenue in New York holding this new gadget called a cell phone, and I demonstrating it to a journalist like you. I wanted to show him the freedom that comes out of being able to take a phone, be able to call anybody in the world, and to be anywhere at any time. And it occurred to me that a good person to call would be my counterpart in the Bell system. The Bell system is a monopoly that if you wanted to have a telephone in the United States and many other countries in the world, you had to rent it from this monopoly. I took out my phone book. That gives you an idea what primitive times these were. And I called my counterpart in the Bell system. And amazingly, he answered. And I said, Joel, I'm calling you a cell phone, but a real cell phone, a personal, handheld, portable cell phone. To this day, Joel does not remember that phone call, and I don't believe him, but he doesn't dispute that I made the call.
Tell me how it worked, that first model of yours.
This phone weighs over a kilo. It has a battery life of 25 minutes. That was not a problem because you couldn't hold this up for 25 minutes. It was so heavy. And all it did was make phone calls. You could make a call and receive it, but it could call anywhere in the world. And we could not make it any smaller. The battery alone, it was about a third of the phone. Battery technology has improved over the years, and of course we have integrated circuits now, and every cell phone now, every mobile phone has a supercomputer in it. I never could imagine that either.
Marty Cooper, the 94-year-old mobile phone pioneer, speaking to Zoe Kleiman. The threat of wildfires is increasing around the world. Climate change has made forests hotter and drier, and recent years have seen record-breaking fires in Australia, North America and Europe. The US state of California is one of the global hotspots for wildfires, and it's preparing to test a piece of technology that's been dubbed an artificial nose, which can sniff out fires in their first few moments. Peter Goffin has been speaking to its creators.
More than 7,000 wildfires raged across California last year alone. Homes were burned, entire towns were evacuated. 9 people were killed. Firefighters are alerted to these blazes in a number of ways. AI-assisted cameras, drones, NASA satellites, even lookouts stationed in watchtowers. The problem is that by the time the flames and smoke can be seen by the human eye or the camera lens, the fire may already have spread out of control. The State Fire Service, CAL FIRE, is about to launch a pilot project that uses solar-powered sensors to detect chemical changes in the air in the earliest moments of a blaze, before a smoldering burn becomes an open flame. Karsten Brinkschulte is the head of Dryad Networks, the German startup that developed the technology. He says it could speed emergency response times by valuable minutes, or even hours.
Think of it like an electronic nose. You can detect gases like hydrogen, carbon monoxide, and volatile organic compounds. And it's using artificial intelligence built into the sensors to detect the typical smell of a fire. We then send an alarm over a wireless network that we equally also install in the forest, enabling the sensors to send their alarms and their coordinates directly to the fire brigades.
The technology has already been piloted on a small scale in more than 20 places across the US, Canada, and Europe. The CAL FIRE trial will deploy around 400 sensors and monitor a stretch of redwood forest roughly the size of 400 football fields. The United Nations has warned that as the effects of climate change worsen, wildfires will become more intense and more frequent, increasing by 14% by 2030 and 50% by the end of this century. And wildfires are drivers of climate change too, emitting tons of carbon and destroying trees and plants which absorb CO2 from the atmosphere.
That report by Peter Goffin. Now, the vivid pink colour of its waters have long made Lac Rose in Senegal one of West Africa's most popular tourist destinations, a stunning natural wonder caused by a unique bacteria that can tolerate the lake's high salt content. But now, after heavy floods, the rosy waters have turned a murky green, and much of the salt harvested there has been washed away. That's badly affected the livelihoods of thousands of people who rely on tourism and the gathering and sale of salt. Soraya Ali sent this report from the lake.
Maud Gay looks desperately at the waters of Senegal's Pink Lake, except it's no longer pink, but now a brownish-green colour. He's a craftsman and owns a shop just a few steps from the shores of the lake. He spends his day polishing statues as he waits for customers.
Je suis là plus de 30 ans au Lagos.
I have been doing this job for more than 30 years in this village. This lake is very important to me as it was for our parents. Our business is disappearing. Usually the market is full, but now we are in the middle of the tourist season, and you see how empty it is.
Lake Retba, as it's officially known, used to be one of Senegal's biggest tourist destinations. People travelled from across the world to see the unique pink colour, which comes from a rare algae formed by the amount of salt in the water. But last September, extreme flooding contaminated that water and turned it green, and that's had an impact on the local communities who depend on the lake. Among them is Magat Njour, president of the local Salt Collectors Association.
La plus de coloration rouge, il n'y a plus de sel, il n'y a plus presque le flux touristique a beaucoup diminué.
There is no more pink coloring, no more salts, there are almost no tourists. So if the state doesn't take any action until the next raining season, the situation will become more catastrophic.
When the flooding began, the authorities also opened a channel into the lake as an emergency response to redirect the rainwater. Magat says that's had big consequences.
Every year, the lake produces between 50 to 60,000 tons of salt. But since the creation of this channel, this activity has become impossible.
Authorities say a plan is underway to help solve the problem. Here's Sheikh Umbo, chair of the National Environmental Body.
The head of state himself has demanded that discussion be carried out and that action plan be developed to reconstitute the functions of the pink lake so that the lake regains its pink color and above all its hydromorphic function, which has been completely damaged.
There's still no formal timetable or budget on how exactly the authorities plan to reinstate the lake to its previous condition. Many locals, like the craftsman Moore, are waiting in fear ahead of the next rainy season.
If this continues during the rainy season, the pink lake will be wiped off the map of Senegal. That scares us a lot. It scares everyone.
I'm standing here at the tip of the lake and there are empty boats lining the shores and no tourists in sight. You can see a lone salesman walking along the nearby road trying to sell his sand paintings, but there are no customers. And there's former salt miners sitting on chairs. There used to be mounds of salt here lining the shores and now there's nothing.
That report by Soraya Ali in Senegal on its famous pink lake, which is pink no more. Thanks very much for listening to this edition of The Newsroom with me, Janat Jalil. A summary of world news is coming up shortly.
This is the BBC World Service, where we're asking, are we heading for a shipping disaster?
The transportation of oil accounts for nearly a third of all trade at sea. But it's being claimed that oil shipping is becoming one of the world's most secretive, under-regulated industries.
What is this oil? Coming from where?
And where is it coming from?
Nobody, if you ask, nobody say.
At the heart of it all is a new dark fleet of aging tankers using dangerous ship-to-ship transfers to disguise the oil's origin.
This ship owner, anonymous ship owner, has built up a fleet from scratch that's worth about $1 billion. If there was to be an accident, there is no company or no insurance for that vessel.
I'm Tim Hewell, and I'm finding out how these risky operations could have catastrophic global consequences.
Deep Waters, the hidden world of global shipping. Continues Tuesday at 8:30 and 19 GMT.
On Crowd Science this week, we're answering a question from listener Chiletso in Malawi. How do our ears sense direction? What makes up, down, left and right sound so different? I'm Anand Jagatia, and in this ear-opening episode, I'll be putting my ability to localise sound to the test. We'll find out how barn owls can hunt in and teach me how to do it, just like a bat. That's coming up right after the news.
The head of the Russian mercenary group Wagner says he's raised the Russian flag over Bakhmut City Hall in eastern Ukraine. Yevgeny Prigozhin acknowledged that Ukrainian troops were fighting on in western districts. Russia's investigative committee has detained a 26-year-old woman suspected of involvement in the killing of the pro-war blogger Vladlen Tatarsky. He died in a bomb attack in St. Petersburg on Sunday. Germany's Vice-Chancellor Robert Habeck has made an unannounced visit to the Ukrainian capital Kiev. He said he wanted to bring hope that there would be reconstruction after the war. One of the most influential Indigenous leaders of the past century in Australia has died. Unipingu, who was 74, spent his life fighting for the rights of First Nations people. Finland looks set to have a Conservative government following elections that took place over the weekend. The centre-right National Coalition Party defeated both the anti-immigration Finns Party and the Social Democrats, who've been in power for the past 4 years. The navies of South Korea, the US and Japan are holding 2 days of anti-submarine drills to improve their coordination against North Korean missile threats. They'll be detecting and tracking South Korean and US underwater vehicles posing as enemy submarines. A former head teacher of a school in Australia has been found guilty of child sex abuse 15 years after she first escaped arrest by fleeing to Israel. Malka Leifer was convicted of rape and indecent assault. World News from the BBC.
If you imagine that you have a lake, so imagine a lake in your mind.
Hello and welcome to Crowd Science from the BBC World Service. I'm Anand Jagatia, and we're starting this show on your own personal desert island. Imagine that you're standing on a tiny piece of land surrounded by a vast lake, calm and serene. On your right, a boat is making waves that slowly lap against the shore. On your left, a tiny duck is paddling, producing small ripples on the smooth surface of the water. And flowing into either side of your little island is a small channel, one on the left and one on the right, that the water is moving through. How peaceful. But I'm afraid we aren't here to relax, we're here to answer one of our listeners' questions. And this scene is actually a way of describing how our ears make sense of the world.
Your ears in that situation are small channels that have water going into them, and then a little bit of either cloth or tissue on top of the water in those two channels. So each channel is one of your ears, and the little bit of cloth that's sitting on top of those bits of water are your eardrums.
To explain, let me introduce you to this week's listener, Chiletso.
Hi, my name is Chiletso. I live in the capital city.
Directed some of his own movies as well. Beverly Hills Cop, we probably know him for, don't we? Meantime, Russia's investigative committee says it's detained a woman named as Daria Trepova on a suspicion of killing a high-profile Russian military blogger after an explosion in a cafe in St. Petersburg yesterday. Let's get more on this from our Moscow correspondent, Diana Magne. Diana, good morning. Tell us more about this woman if you can.
Well, she's a 26-year-old resident of St. Petersburg, a sculptor, and there is video of her walking into the cafe last night carrying this figurine, which she then presented to this military blogger. Vladlen Tatarsky is one of his names. The name he goes under is also called Maxim Fomin, and which was clearly filled with explosives, which then killed him and wounded another 30 people. And so Russia's investigative committee has now detained her in her apartment. They say, or it has been reported that she was detained previously at anti-war rallies in February last year. I guess the question is, did she know what was in the figurine? Was she a willing accomplice? Because, I mean, if this was planned by her, it's essentially a lifetime jail or a death warrant, essentially. And who was ultimately behind it? Russian officials say that it was the Kyiv regime. The Kyiv regime denies this, saying instead that let's look at sort of intra-Russian squabbles. It is rumoured or speculated that it might have been a warning to the boss of Wagner, Yevgeny Prigozhin, who was relatively close with this particular military blogger. He'd interviewed him back in February, and Prigozhin had complained about a lack of ammunition from Russia's Ministry of Defence to his people around Bakhmut. And there was also speculation that Prigozhin might have been going to attend this particular talk where Tatarsky was giving a speech about his experiences as a military blogger. So I think there are a lot of speculation at this time about who was behind it, but it does bear a resemblance links to the assassination in August last year of a well-known ultra-nationalist figure, Daria Dugina, and the investigative committee blamed Ukraine's security services for that attack.
Okay, for now, thank you. Gurpreet is here with us in the studio now. Cost of living. Oof.
Yeah, things are really turning up a notch today. April the 1st, that's when a slew of annual price rises kicked in. It's the first Monday, so they're about to kick in now, and that's for council tax, water, broadband, mobile phone contracts, everything, you name it. And it means that the average bill will increase per household by £88 a month or £1,000 a year. So let's start with council tax. The bill for an average Bandy property will increase by 5.1% a year. That takes bills to more than £2,000 a year for the first time ever. Water is increasing by 7.5% to just under £500 a year. Those in Dorset and Somerset are the worst affected. And then broadband and phone contracts. Many companies have annual increases already written into their contracts. It's usually inflation plus a little bit more. O2, for example, back in February, increased its prices by 13.4% plus another 3.9%. So that's added £3.46 to a mobile phone bill of £20 a month. And then, of course, there's energy bills. The government has continued with its energy price guarantee. That limits the amount that energy companies can charge per unit of gas and electricity, which should be of help. But of course, we're losing the £400 rebate that we've had over the last 6 months. So that means we're £67 worse off a month. And when you add all that together and take into consideration the fact that wages aren't keeping up with inflation, you can see why economists think we're in for the biggest fall in living standards since the 1950s.
Okay, fascinating. Thanks very much indeed. Thanks very much. We've been asking for your thoughts this morning on Stevenage Woman. Have you heard of Stevenage Woman? Apparently Labour think that could be the key to electoral success. You can tweet me directly at KBurley your thoughts. It's the tweet that is pinned right to the top of the feed there. Check it out and let me know your thoughts. Lots of you have offered your opinions already, including SJ Harriet. Hi Kay, hello. As a woman turning 40 with 2 young kids working full-time in a Stevenage postcode, if Sir Keir wants my vote, he needs to commit to rejoining the EU, re-admit Jeremy Corbyn, and reinstate Clause 4, you know. I'm just going to put myself out there and say that's not going to happen, in fact, any of them. Carol Brown, hi Carol, Labour need the backup of Scottish votes, but publicly ignore the needs of Scotland and refuse to discuss Scottish issues. All they can see is getting into number 10. And PCJ, good morning, thanks for tweeting us. Can we trust Keir Starmer? He's got form on promising the earth to win an election. Not sure if Man, Woman or Next Gen will be taking it so easy. Let us know your thoughts. You can tweet us directly if you would like to at Kay Burley. As I said, add your thoughts and we'll share them with the world. Meantime, let's chat politics. Hi guys, good morning for people who don't know. I'm sure everybody knows. Katie with me, Kevin over there. Hello. Where should we start? Should we start with Stevenage Woman? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. There's always this target voters. We had Workington Man, in the 2019 election, which was seen as, the typical red wall male voter that was key to winning that election. I think that it's interesting looking at this report, which I think has links to figures who are close to Keir Starmer in terms of his office. Morgan McSweeney used to be there, and does this suggest that Stevenage Woman could win the next election? I think these things can always seem a little bit gimmicky, but I think what's interesting is there's clearly a growing consensus amongst those around Keir Starmer that on social issues, he is going to lean more to being socially conservative in order to bring some of these voters over, and they're making the calculation that in doing that they're not going to see probably more socially left voters leave them for the Lib Dems or the Green Party. So I think you can see that in some of the comments we've already had from Keir Starmer, the interview on Sunday, talking about what makes a woman a woman.
Yeah, it's getting there. No, isn't it? Kevin, I remember Mondeo Man. It seemed to work in 1997 for Tony Blair. Saw somebody polishing their Mondeo and he thought, that's exactly the person that I need to win over.
But you're right, I mean, it did work for Tony Blair in 97, and there's a lot that Starmer's doing at the moment that seems to be following the New Labour stroke Blairite playbook. They're obviously looking for a similar result in 2024 to 1997. A lot of the debate though is whether we're heading for a 92 style election result where John Major scraped back in after a long time of Conservative government, or a Labour landslide in 1997. So yeah, I just think, I agree with Katie, I think voters sometimes can smell a gimmick, and the problem with focusing narrowly on one group of the electorate is that you are excluding others, and that might annoy them, you know. So I think they've got to be really careful that they don't just throw the kitchen sink at one particular group of voters at the expense of others.
Well, you say that, but the Prime Minister's bet the farm on stopping the boats.
Yes, and I think, again, if you're looking at perhaps Stevenage women, but definitely the Red Wall voters, that's something which Number 10 think they need to do to have a hope of holding even a few of the seats they won in 2019 there. And it is of all the 5 priorities, I think by far the hardest. I think quite a few of those 5 priorities are meant to be unambitious in the sense they should hopefully just happen. And so the Prime Minister can try and claim he has an achievement in various places. Whereas on boats, I think that is just one where you're increasingly seeing, yes, it initially I think had an impact that pleased Number 10 in terms of uniting Tory MPs in the early stages. Now we're just seeing how complicated, how difficult it's going to be. And I think some of the things over the weekend, so will we get barges, the use of military bases, which is upsetting, you know, some senior members of the government, the Foreign Secretary James Cleverly, just does, I think, raise questions about how much bad will you create along the way and whether it had much to point to at all.
And whether it will be any cheaper than the hotels.
Well, that's right. I mean, we believe that the barges idea, for instance, has been proposed on numerous occasions and rejected by the Cabinet on practicality and cost grounds. You know, it's the type of thing that gets a nice headline, but when you actually drill down into the detail, it maybe isn't all it's cracked up to be. It was interesting yesterday, Suella Braverman was not really wanting to go there when she was asked about the barges, in much the same way as she didn't want to go there when she was asked about flights leaving for Rwanda by the summer. Home Office sources briefed the newspapers, it got lots of front page coverage at the time, but Rishi Sunak has poured cold water on it, and yesterday Suella Braverman was doing the same. So I think voters think that the government is talking a good game when it comes to things like stopping the boats, but they will be wanting to see it actually come to fruition, and if it isn't, then I think the Conservatives will be in quite a lot of trouble.
What the Prime Minister's up to today, he's gone up north in order to talk about grooming gangs. He's tiptoeing through the raindrops when it comes to racism.
Well, yeah, you know, the quote that he's given about political correctness, blaming that for, as Suella Braverman said yesterday, some local authorities, using Labour-run local authorities, and maybe the police turning a blind eye to this awful crime because of the ethnicity and the cultural background of those involved in it. Now, you're right, this is very sensitive stuff. But I don't think that they can get away from the fact that, you know, the Conservatives have been in power for 13 years, and you think, well, if this is a big problem, why have you not dealt with it before? And they seem to be trying to turn it into a bit of a culture war again, which is a bit like the boat stuff, and it's an interesting strategy that the government is pursuing right now. Whether it's effective or not, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to, obviously, you look at Rotherham in the report, it did accept that its own findings that, you know, concern about looking or appearing as though you might be racist by talking about some ethnic groups was a factor.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I think what's interesting is the fact that the government's now leaning so hard on it, so that almost suggesting this is one of the biggest problems, tackling the problem now, is creating a dividing line with Labour, because you have Keir Starmer this morning trying to say, actually, ethnicity is one factor, but it's not the main one in terms of grooming. And
all white men are responsible.
Exactly. And therefore you can see that I think the Tories are seeking to differentiate this from Labour on this and try and, I think, what they see as a potentially vulnerability of Labour looking soft on the issue. And Keir Starmer actually kind of taking that on this morning and saying he just disagrees.
I want to ask about Suella Braverman's energy bills on the front page of the Mirror today. Apparently she's claimed £25,000 in 5 years for her London home while living rent-free with her parents. It's within the rules, but there's a cost of living crisis going on. Is it appropriate?
I think these things never look good for the politicians in question, and therefore they don't reflect well on the government. And of course you can, as you say, it's technically within the rules. Is it what you would want one of your most senior ministers to be on the front of the papers for? No, which probably tells you it's not the best idea.
Yeah, the Home Office are keen to stress that she doesn't claim for a second home, so in the grand scheme of things it's actually saving money, but you're right, it doesn't look good to be on the front page of the Mirror. It's not a great look for Sarah Bravin.
Yeah, something else that's not particularly a good look for the PM this time is MPs don't want his face on their campaign leaflets.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable, really. The polls haven't really shifted. That's the problem for Rishi Sunak right now. They've had a media blitz really for the past month. Lots and lots of positive coverage, lots of announcements, lots of initiatives, but it doesn't seem to be shifting the dial. And the question then arises: is the public convinced by Rishi Sunak himself? So that might be why Conservative leaflets are designed to keep him off, but it is quite embarrassing, really.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one in the sense the polls are pretty static, but Rishi Sunak's approval ratings have actually gone up in recent weeks. So there's always these type of stories, and often ahead of Scottish elections, Boris Johnson was told by Scottish Tories not to even come off the border when he was Prime Minister. And I think that we're seeing some of the local elections material is actually a real effort after the chaos of the past year or so to have a very local message, and therefore not make it about the main party, the main government or Rishi Sunak because of this, and try and make it more about potholes, local issues, rather than remind people, I think, of the Conservative brand. And I think the question is, can Rishi Sunak on a longer scale start to transform the party's fortunes? Because right now, approval ratings going up for Rishi Sunak, Tories staying static. Something has to give one way or the other, and I think it probably won't take too much longer before we know where we get there.
Fascinating, as always. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Thanks. Well, we've heard from Suella Braverman's team. They say the Home Secretary has chosen not to rent a property in her constituency for which she would be entitled to claim £17,000 a year, therefore saving money for the taxpayer. Instead, when she became MP for Fareham, she and her family made a home in her constituency so she could stay there. She doesn't claim a penny from the taxpayer on this home, as the expenses rules permit. She claims associated costs on her home in Greater London. So there. Let's see how that develops. Meantime, UK health experts are warning about an increase in vaping among teenagers and school-aged children. But why has there been such a rapid increase in the popularity of e-cigarettes with young people? Is it the brightly coloured packaging and sweet flavours that attract them, or are there other factors at play? Sky's FYI presenter, Braden Bent, has been investigating the story. He'll be with us in a second, but first let's take a look.
We probably all know someone who uses e-cigarettes.
Even though it's illegal to buy or sell vapes to anybody under 18, thousands of us have been tempted to try them out. My friends, they'll be doing it in school and the toilets and stuff like that, and they can't go a day without doing it.
Well, my first impressions is very, very colourful. I mean, we could be in a sweet shop here, couldn't we?
I know that plenty of us are vaping, so I want to know if these things are harming our health.
Well, Braden is with us now. Hiya.
Hello, thank you for having me.
No, not at all. Tell me about your investigation.
So we've just done an investigation on vaping and kids who vape, because we feel like it's becoming a bigger issue. So I'm a reporter for FYI, Sky Kids, and it comes out on Sky News on this show actually on 10:30 on a Saturday and Sunday. And we thought that vaping was something that's becoming really popular amongst young people, and we were asked by the producers to think of a topic that was really pressing and we thought was something that young people are really bothered about, and vaping was the obvious one for us really. I mean, we see it everywhere at the moment, not just with adults but especially among young people.
So what did you find?
So we found out that there was almost like 3 or 4 main factors for why younger people are taking up vaping. One of them is peer pressure. They see their friends doing it and they almost think it's cool to join in. It's almost like a social thing. Also the social media aspect with the tricks. You can go on social media and you can look on whatever, and you can look at tutorials on how to vape tricks and do the hoops and stuff, and we think that does play a major role in influencing young people to start vaping.
And how do they get hold of the vapes?
So they're not supposed to illegal, obviously. It's illegal to sell vapes to young people and to underage. But it seems to, from speaking to the young people, get it from their parents. They seem to get it even in shops. It's not very difficult to get them, is what they were saying. And it's crazy. They can just walk in, they don't ask for any ID, and they can just, get whichever vape they want. They take the pick. So it's not really difficult to get a hold of.
Are they aware of the dangers of vaping?
So we spoke to a lot of young people during the course of this investigation, and it seems that they wasn't, to be honest with you, and obviously it's not been around long enough to know 100% every single cause and effect of vaping, but it seems to be that a lot of the young people that are taking up vaping don't know at all, or don't really know anything about the health risks that come with it.
Okay, tell me about Ewan.
So we interviewed a lad called Ewan Fisher in Nottingham, and he had a near-death experience through vaping, and his story was really upsetting and really scary. He was speaking about how his family had to go through it as well as himself.
So what happened?
So he had an allergic reaction to one of the chemicals within the vapes, and it was a really bad one. He found himself in hospital with tubes in his neck, and he got given a 20% chance to live, which obviously is terrible. And he's lucky enough to have recovered, he said, around 80% now, but he still gets problems still today, and that was through vaping at a young age when really he didn't need to.
So what's your message to young people who are thinking about vaping?
I just think there's no need, and if you are going to do it, you need to understand it, which obviously you need to be 18 or over to do it, of course. And vaping was created to stop adults from smoking tobacco cigarettes, but now we're seeing young people skip that phase and get straight to it, and they're getting addicted to nicotine. So my thing would be to not do it at all, but to also understand what it does to you, because when you know fully and you start to learn about what it can do to you, it scares you, and I don't know why anybody would want to do it.
And when can we see your reports?
We can see the report going out 8 times across from Good Friday to Easter Monday, and it's going to be going out on here, Sky News.
Absolutely. So let's run the promo as well, just to explain to people. There you go. This Friday you can watch FYI's investigation, Kids Who Vape, here on Sky News 11:30 and 3:30, and as Braden was saying, 8 times over the bank holiday weekend, so you won't miss it. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Really enjoy it. Thank you. Bear with me a second. Quick look at the weather.
Warm memories wherever you go. The weather, sponsored by Qatar.
Radio UK.
Some people who have been infected with COVID-19 report still not being themselves weeks later. To help us explore when and how people can get help, I have 2 doctors with me.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sarah Ann Filson, and I am an infectious diseases and microbiology doctor, currently working in Northwest London.
Hello, I'm Dr. Abayomi Salau. I'm a consultant in rehabilitation medicine at Castle Hill Hospital in Hull.
Hi, I'm Dr. Donald Palmer, and I'm an immunologist. COVID-19 is still with us and making people ill every day, but it's not too late for all adults to book their first or second NHS COVID-19 vaccination. To get these vaccinations while they are still available and protect yourself and those around you, visit nhs.uk/COVID vaccination or call 119.
Today, Dr. Joe Wende is here to discuss why we need to embrace NHS screening for a longer, happier and healthier life.
Hi, my name is Joe Wende. I'm a doctor by background, a consultant in public health, and I am the cancer screening public health lead for NHS England in London.
How many NHS screening programs are there?
So we have about 10 NHS screening programs, which are actually offered from pregnancy all the way to our later years. So pregnant women are offered various screening tests for things like infectious diseases and to detect genetic abnormalities in the baby. And then we have a variety of screening tests that we offer newborns. including things like testing their hearing, checking if their hips are okay, and checking for other genetic disorders. And then in later life, we start offering people with diabetes an annual eye screening test every year from the age of 12, and we offer men a screening test called an abdominal aortic aneurysm screening test in the year that they turn 65, and all adults are offered cancer screening as well. So we offer the cervical screening program to women between 25 and 64. We offer bowel cancer screening to men and women aged between 56 and 74, and we offer breast screening to women from the age of 50 up to the time that they turn 71.
How can we prevent cervical cancer?
So cervical cancer is one of the cancers that we can totally eliminate. One of the most important things that we need to do is to make sure that young boys and girls are vaccinated. The vaccination is offered to year 8, and it remains free up until the age of 25. And the benefit of the HPV vaccination is that not only does it prevent cervical cancers, but it can also prevent certain mouth and throat cancers. It can also prevent certain types of anal cancers, and it can prevent genital warts.
What is the role of cervical screening in preventing cancer?
Also very important is taking up the offer for cervical cancer screening. So from the time that you are 25, you'll be offered a cervical cancer screening test, sometimes called a smear test. And if you have HPV, this virus, we check to see if you have any abnormal cervical cells. And if you have those abnormal cervical cells, you'll be offered the opportunity for us to take a closer look and for us to potentially remove those abnormal cells. The combination of HPV vaccine and cervical cancer screening means that we actually have tools to actually eradicate or eliminate cervical cancer once and for all across the world.
Do women know what to expect when going for breast screening?
You will receive your breast screening invitation for the first time between the age of 50 and 53. And the breast screening test comprises x-rays of the breast. So you'll have 2 x-rays on either side, and this x-ray is called a mammography. The mammography will be done by women, and you'll be asked to undress from above the waist, so it's a good idea to wear a skirt or a trousers. The breast screening test, the mammography, can be painful or uncomfortable, but it only lasts 1 or 2 minutes.
Are some women more likely to get breast cancer than others?
So the risk of breast cancer increases with age. 8 out of 10 breast cancers occur in women over 50, so age is the biggest risk factor for developing breast cancer. There are other risk factors, for example, having a relative who's had breast cancer and certain genetic mutations such as having the BRCA gene. But most women who actually develop breast cancer don't actually have a relative who's had breast cancer, which is why it's so important to attend breast screening. Breast cancer is one of the most common cancers in the UK, and we are all at risk of developing breast cancer as we get older. So when you are invited for your screening test, you should carefully consider the pros and the cons and consider the benefits of attending screening, because it will allow us to detect that breast cancer early when it is too small to feel or to see, and we can actually treat it early and therefore improve your chances of a good treatment outcome and improve the chances of survival.
There is also a campaign running about bowel cancer screening. Is that for men only, or should women do that as well?
Bowel cancer screening is offered to both men and women from the age of 56 to 74. And you'll be sent a bowel cancer screening test kit called a fit kit that you complete at home. You put a small sample of your poo into a test tube and you send it back to the NHS, and we'll send you back your results within 2 weeks. And 98 out of 100 people actually get a normal result and don't require further tests. If you are required to come for further tests, this will usually entail what is called a colonoscopy, where we will take a look inside your bowel to see if you have any signs of cancers or growths called polyps, which we would want to remove, because even though they're not cancerous, they can develop into cancer if they are left in the bowel.
Thanks very much, Joe, for helping us to understand about cancer screening. Do you have any last words before you go?
Yes, it is important for our audience to realise that cancer screening saves lives. So when they receive their invitation letter, they must read the information that is provided very carefully, and if they have any questions, they should discuss those questions or concerns with a health professional that they trust, or to speak to some of our charitable partners like Joe's Trust and the African and Caribbean Healthcare Network. More information is also available online at nhs.uk. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to spread the message that screening saves lives.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Vedasse.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820, or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohinya, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
They can always rely on the Saudis to supply their barrels. Everyone else will just have to rely on the spot market, which is tough. Absolutely. Now, Victor, what are the chances, do you think, of these production cuts holding? Because in the past, where we've seen production cuts announced, the price goes up, and then some producers are tempted by the higher prices to carry on pumping at the normal rate. I mean, Russia in particular is notorious for that. Will this production cut hold?
I think it will hold, but there will be some point of, or some moment of disappointment when a lot of people will realize that the $500 million production cut that Saudi Arabia has pledged has in a way already been taking place over the past couple of months, in a sense that Saudi Arabia has been underperforming its quota in January, March 2023. So they will not cut outright the $500 million. They will be just producing less than they should, and the real production cut will be somewhere between 200,000 and 300,000 barrels. So that's the only thing that's going to hit the market at some point. But overall, seeing how willing OPEC Plus is in having that price floor and having at least $80 per barrel for Brent, if not more, I think that the production cut story will stay throughout 2023. The only real story concerning the production cuts will be, will Saudi Arabia genuinely cut $500 million, or will it be less? I think it will be less. But in terms of maintaining a political message that we're serious about the price floors, we're serious about what's going on with supply and demand balances and the overall dynamics, and we will take action whenever that's required, that will not change. That's the new OPEC Plus mentality and the new OPEC Plus narrative that they're pushing out.
All right, Victor, we've got to leave it there. Appreciate you joining me today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
A bit of breaking news to bring you. We've got a bit of reaction from the government to the announcement, news that we broke about half an hour ago on the channel, that the Teachers Union has voted for further strike action. The Education Secretary, Gillian Keegan, has said that after costing children almost a week of time in the classroom and with exams fast approaching, it is extremely disappointing that the National Education Union have called more strike action. Following a week negotiating in good faith, the government offered teachers a £1,000 payment on top of this year's pay rise, a commitment to significantly cut workload, and a headline pay increase of 4.5% for next year, above both inflation and average earnings growth. The NEU's decision to reject it will simply result in more disruption for children and less money for teachers today. More on that throughout the morning here on Sky News, but now some other business news stories for you. And the founder and chief executive of the software company OneDisco has resigned after an internal investigation into suspected fraud found more than $115 million in missing bookings. David Richards said he was sad to be leaving OneDisco after 18 extremely enjoyable years. Eric Miller, the chief financial officer, is also stepping down with immediate effect. Well, OneDisco said that the investigation had found that its sales for 2022 should have been $9.7 million rather than $24 million, while bookings should have been $11.4 million rather than $127 million. Cinema operator Cineworld said today it's halted the sale process for its US and UK and Ireland arms with immediate effect. The debt-laden company said it's planning to raise $2.26 billion for its US and UK and Ireland arms with immediate effect. The debt-laden company said it's planning to raise $2.26 billion for its US and UK and Ireland arms with immediate effect. The debt-laden company said it's planning to raise $2.26 billion for its US and UK and Ireland arms with new credit, as well as buying $800 million worth of new shares. I can tell you the share price is 37% lower right now. And McDonald's is reportedly temporarily closing its US offices this week as it prepares to inform corporate employees about job cuts. The Wall Street Journal says the layoffs are part of a broader company restructuring. McDonald's, which employs more than 150,000 people around the world in both corporate roles and in its owned restaurants, said in January that it planned to make difficult decisions about changes to its corporate staffing levels by April. Now, last Friday was a big day in Gibraltar. 14 years after work began on it, a tunnel for traffic to access the frontier with Spain without having to cross the runway at Gibraltar International Airport. Well, the new tunnel, for the first time since 1941, allows for an uninterrupted flow of traffic from one side of the runway to the other, and it will significantly improve traffic flow throughout Gibraltar. Well, joining me now is Mark Walk. do apologise there, Chief Operating Officer of Sunborn Yacht Hotels in Gibraltar. Mark, very good morning to you. Sorry about struggle to pronounce your surname there. I mean, this tunnel has taken an awful long time to complete. Why the delays?
Well, I don't know, but there was a couple of construction companies involved. So, but good morning to you from sunny Gibraltar.
The tunnel has actually taken longer to build than the Channel Tunnel did between England and France.
Very true. We're really excited. We're hoping for more and more free flow of traffic. You know, there's about 10 million arrivals every year. So I think that this is actually going to really help open things up and hopefully bring more flights in as well.
So what is this going to mean for your business particularly?
Well, the hotel occupancy is directly related to the amount of people arriving by air. And when I see this as a great opportunity that there could be more airlines and more flights coming into Gibraltar, which will bring more tourists and therefore improving the occupancies of the hotels.
How important is tourism to Gibraltar's economy?
Well, it actually constitutes around 130 million pounds of revenue per year. Sounds small, I guess, when you compare it with the UK, but for this size of economy, it's quite large. The total economy and the budget here for Gibraltar is around 2.4 billion. So there's a lot of other services and things taking place, but tourism as a whole is super important. We're only approximately 5 hotels here in Gibraltar, and the Sunborn constitutes almost 200 of those. And the more tourists we can attract and allow to come in smoothly and freely, the better off we'll be.
Now, Gibraltarians voted in the Brexit referendum to remain in the EU by nearly 96%. What has Brexit meant for the border crossings in particular? I presume it's added to some of the congestion like what we've been seeing in Dover over the weekend.
That's true. A little bit more. And it's, I would call it maybe more, well, it is stricter, and there are restrictions on the amount of days that Gibraltarians can go into Spain, and also British citizens as well. However, I think as far as like with most things, you know, once you get yourself organized, you know, it's not really that much of a problem anymore.
But presumably this tunnel, though, is going to be a big assistance in terms of helping flows.
Absolutely. I've already driven it a couple of times just to test it and see how it went over the weekend and now on a Monday. It is Semana Santa in Spain and also, you know, the beginning of Easter here, so it's a little quieter, but I have to say it's quite impressive for a tunnel, and but it's great. It's really, and I've been here in Gibraltar for a little over 6 years, and I've been hearing about this tunnel for, you know, practically every day since, and I'm just really thrilled that it's finally here and open.
How many Spanish nationals roughly come into Gibraltar every day?
Yeah, it's a good point. Most of the people that are traveling over, which constitutes around 30,000 really by day, it's probably about 90% are Spanish, and it's quite a number here, as you can see in the video, the tunnel.
But presumably a lot of these are your employees.
That's correct. Yeah, we employ around 180 people, and again, about 90% are from our Spanish nationals.
Now, that's not the only tunnel that's currently under discussion in Gibraltar. There's also talk of a tunnel linking Spain and Morocco that would go under the Gibraltar Strait. What would that mean for Gibraltar's economy?
I think that would, well, I'm unsure about how that would go, but the Gibraltar Strait is almost 900 meters deep. I'm really skeptical, I guess, if you will, about that. But there is a tunnel, a pipeline, sorry, not a tunnel, for oil and electricity that comes from Algeria to Spain. So I guess it can happen. that would change things quite a bit, because there is a lot of trade between Morocco and Gibraltar. We personally, here at the hotel, we do get a lot of supplies that are coming from Morocco. And so I think that would immensely change things to connect Africa to the Iberian Peninsula.
And Mark, how about your business right now? What are occupancy levels like?
Well, we're fluctuating, and it's a kind of let's say a pre-pandemic and normal winter. Right now, we're hovering anywhere between 70 to 80% occupancy. We grow up a little bit more during the summer and have longer stays. Our normal stay now is roughly around 2 to 3 nights, but in the summertime it extends to around 5 to 7 nights. We see around 100,000 people a year here at the hotel and staying in the hotel. And the thing is, with the addition of more flights, we could see that grow. Right now, there's approximately 30 flights per week. During the winter time, there's around 18 to 20. So if we could see that increasing any amount, that would definitely affect our business.
Very good. Mark, we have to leave it there. Good to see you this morning. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it, and welcome to Gibraltar.
Thank you, Mark. That's Mark Skavork there. Most big management consultancies, the likes of McKinsey, Bain, Boston Consulting, and the consulting arm of Big Four accountants such as Deloitte and PwC, are owned by their partners. It's much rarer to see them listed on the stock market and owned by shareholders. That's the model though for Elixir International, which listed on AIM in June 2020 during the middle of the first COVID lockdown, and which stars itself the Challenger consultancy. And today, the company, whose clients include HSBC, Tesla and Mars, reported a full-year pre-tax profit for 2022 of £15.7 million. That was up 29% on 2021. Well, the founder and chief executive is Stephen Newton, and he joins me now. Stephen, welcome to you. Traditionally you've specialised in financial services, retail and digital. You've branched out into other disciplines there. Where is growth strongest right now?
Well, there's 3 ways you can... Good morning, firstly, and good morning to your viewers. There's 3 ways you can look at growth, and we look at it in a geography lens, we also look at it in an industry lens, and we also look at it in a capability lens. And geography right now, our biggest growth market is the US. It's by far and away the biggest consulting market out there, and we're seeing very accelerated growth, up north of 50% in the US market. And then if you look at it by industry, as you mentioned, we were initially strong in financial services. We're branching out into telcos, consumer goods, pharmaceuticals, retail, etc. That's another view on the perspective. And then the third one is capability. So we focusing on digital innovation, transformation, cost reduction, which is very interesting in a downward trending market or in a headwind market, so to speak. So yeah, we've seen growth from all of those areas.
That's very interesting. So it sounds from what you're saying though, it's about managing specific challenges like costs, like the need for digital transformation, less than going for growth almost.
Well, it's interesting. Clearly the market is a bit tough in the last year. We're very pleased with our results, having grown 30% over the year and 18% underlying growth. So that was really encouraging for us, but all our clients are facing difficult challenges, of course. But what we're finding is that I think what it's meaning is people are being a bit more focused. So where clients are seeing, a lot of our clients are focusing on digital because they're realizing that's a big future and they need to be in that space. Of course, now there's a bit more emphasis on cost reduction, supply chain management, and all of that kind of good thing as well. So it's a question of being more precise now, I think.
Now, you're obviously not paying McKinsey-style salaries, and your industry is notorious for people job hopping. Is staff retention an issue for you?
Well, interestingly, we've got a very interesting model. You mentioned at the start that we're a listed company, and it's a very specific model. You mentioned that we're a challenger. We're trying to challenge the industry in terms of its remuneration model. There are not many listed companies. In the top 10, there's only 3. And the market's bifurcated a little bit. It's almost 50% the top 10, and then the other 50% is hundreds of thousands of small boutique firms like ours. But we're using the equity model to incentivize both our partners and our staff. And we think that brings a much longer-term perspective for our people, so they actually have to stick around and earn the value. So our partners are probably 70% motivated in equity, which is very different to the cash model of the big firms.
Who do you hire people from?
Our favourite is to grow people internally, right? One of our other strategies is also to acquire boutique firms. I mentioned entrepreneurialism. The thing about the boutique firms, these firms exist because they've probably got founder members, founder partners who are very entrepreneurial themselves, and so we'd like to bring in those founders into our businesses through an acquisition strategy, and that complements our existing team of all very entrepreneurial people too. So we obviously take from the big firms, but that's the more difficult proposition because we find that they're not as entrepreneurial, and we want a bit more of an entrepreneurial edge to our people.
Yeah, now you mentioned that more than 40% of your revenues come from the US now, and you've done a big acquisition there recently. Yeah. Is there still more in the tank? Are you looking for more acquisitions?
Oh yeah, constantly. I mentioned there's hundreds of thousands of boutique firms out there. We've looked at over 4,000 and continuously looking at good firms. And when we see good opportunities like the acquisition of iLab out in the US, where it's fitting a specific geography opportunity for us, which is the US, but also data and analytics, which is key to decision making now in boardrooms. We obviously wanted to complement our skills with that. So always looking for things that complement the business model we're trying to adopt.
Now, as you say, you're in a lot of different countries, a lot of different industry sectors. Where is optimism most positive right now?
I'd say tell me it is somewhere. Yeah, no, look, I mean, it is difficult, but I think the consulting industry itself has seen 15 years of growth, and while it is slowing a little bit, it's still growing. So I think the consulting industry is growing. It's quite resilient to recessions, actually, consulting, because you're either focusing on revenue in good times or cost reduction, efficiency in sort of more difficult times. I think that's probably the industry that's probably the most positive in my view right now.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously digital transformation is driving an awful lot of business.
Of course.
Which are the sectors that are dragging their feet on digital transformation and not perhaps doing as much as they ought to?
Well, it's very difficult to say sector-wise, but I'd say we tend to work with those clients who are challenging and moving into the digital world. So, our clients are pretty bold and they're out there trying to embrace the change that they need to embrace. Obviously, there's always laggards. I wouldn't say there's a specific industry that I would point to, but it can be within the industry. There's certain clients that perhaps have a different model, a more high street model, or a more digital model. So it does depend on the industry, and it does depend on the sector, I guess, a little bit.
I mean, we're obviously very inflation conscious right now, and you mentioned that clients are looking to cut costs where they can.
Yeah.
Sometimes that might even involve cutting consultancy fees. What's happening to you on the fee front?
Well, I'm a great believer in if you deliver value, you get paid value. So I think this is part of the reason we wanted to be public too, is if you show good profits, you're showing your clients good value, and this is a truism, if you like. So you always get pressure if you're doing poor service. If you're making a difference and adding value, then the pressure's not so much. So yeah, I don't feel that there's any particular change in the market. I think it's just the same kind of pressure clients are demanding, and they should be, and we've got to deliver to them, and then they pay our fees.
All right, Stephen, got to leave it there. Busy day for your results today. I do appreciate you spending the time to chat to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
A bit of breaking news to bring you. You'll be aware overnight there was an explosion in St. Petersburg which killed a well-known pro-war Russian blogger. Well, Russia's National Anti-Terrorism Committee has just issued a statement in which it says it has been established that the terrorist attack against the military blogger Vladlen Tatarsky in St. Petersburg yesterday was planned by the Ukrainian Special Services. More on that throughout the morning here on Sky News, of course. And still to come here on King Live, we'll have a look at how global markets are doing this Monday morning, the start, of course, of the second quarter. Don't go away.
This is the story of the night.
Are you feeling well?
There's this illusion of power. They're going to cost us along with a minute. Thank you so much. Dad is now a prolific producer behind the scenes.
I want to meet that guy. Okay, I'll talk to you. Yeah, okay.
I've had a great time here. I love England and would like to move here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
I'm Greg Mylan, and I'm Sky's Chief North of England correspondent. We aim to be the best and most trusted place for news.
Well, the oil price is obviously at the centre of attention this morning following the production cuts announced yesterday by the OPEC Plus grouping. Barrel of Brent crude, we mentioned it at the top of the programme, it was trading at $84.44 a barrel. There you go. It's currently $84.21 a barrel, still up nearly 5.5% on the session. Well, on the equity markets, it was largely a positive session overnight in the Asia-Pacific region. Sydney finished up 2/3 of 1%. The Nikkei in Tokyo was up 0.5%. Shanghai got the yellow leader vest, that was up 0.75%. Hong Kong more or less unchanged. Mumbai was very slightly lower. Well, in Europe, stocks have made a healthy start to the second quarter. The CAC 40 in Paris currently ahead by just under 0.5%. The MIB in Milan is up by 0.5%. DAX in Frankfurt up 0.1% right now, and the IBEX in Madrid, well, more or less unchanged there. Here in London, the FTSE 100 is also in positive territory right now, up 0.2%. That's a 3-week high, led by the oil majors, as you might expect. BP and Shell alone. There you go. The FTSE's 52 points to the good there, with 39 points of that alone has come from BP and Shell. Some of the banking stocks are ahead this morning as well. Well, outside the FTSE 100, again, it's all about the oil stocks this morning. Harbour Energy, that's the biggest independent producer in the North Sea, and Tullow Oil, they're both up by around 6% apiece. There you go. Well, Tullow's up 5% now. Hunting, that's another interesting one. That's an oil services provider. It shares up some 5.75% right now. Among the fallers, well, the cyber security group NCC, you'll recall we mentioned them last week. They had an absolute lulu of a profits warning. The shares are off another 4% this morning. Elsewhere, Wizz Air is off some 3% right now. It's published some passenger numbers this morning. On the foreign exchange markets, well, all that talk about OPEC production cuts sparked the dollar into a bit of life there. But as you can see, it's given some of those back now. Sterling actually more or less unchanged right now against both the dollar and the euro. Likewise, a single currency more or less unchanged against the dollar. Well, I'm joined now by Neil Wilson. He's Chief Market Analyst at Finalto. Neil, good to see you this morning. We can't avoid talking about the oil price, but I guess the bigger question people have is what will this mean for the broader inflation picture?
Yes, I mean, look, clearly it's not great for inflation if oil prices are higher. We saw a lot of inflation over the last couple of years has been driven by energy. You are starting to see that fall. With the latest data has suggested that the base effects from energy is starting to contribute to lower inflation. I think that the worry would be that you just get this flare up again in that sort of energy component of the inflation data. It just makes the overall more sticky. I think on the sort of broader sort of look at it, the services inflation that we're seeing right now is incredibly sticky. It's not going away. If you combine that with energy inflation too, then you're gonna get a tougher environment for the central banks, and probably see some more tightening have to take place.
Which is why I presume all the banking stocks are in pretty fine fettle this morning.
Well, that's certainly the case. I think as well. You have seen a bit of calm being restored with regards to the banking crisis, if you can call it a crisis. I think it certainly was a very big impact on certain banks. We've seen that, but on the whole, it looks like the market's kind of coming around to the idea that, there might be problems underlying here. There might be something happening. There might be credit tightening, credit crunch down the line, but we're not going to see sort of 2008 style implosion.
What are your reflections on the first quarter? I mean, it actually turned out to be a lot better than people expected. If you look at some of the continental European stock indices, I mean, the DAX in Germany and the CAC 40 in France were up by sort of 11-12%. Not bad going.
Yeah, there were some great performances. I think you look at it partly on the sort of the amount of selling that was done in 2022. So you saw a bit of a snapback. The FTSE had a much more sort of circumspect quarter because it had actually done really quite well in 2022. I think on the whole you call that a kind of FOMO trade. I think we saw it throughout 22, wherever the market was buying into this idea that the Fed was going to pivot, pause, whatever you call it, start looking to stop hiking rates. And that's kind of what we've been seeing this quarter too. And I think you've seen a big bid for tech stocks, in particular NASDAQ, up by about 17% for the quarter. I think there's an element of chasing safety in that, and it sort of sounds strange to talk about tech as a safe place, but in a world of uncertainty, high inflation, and the Fed may be looking to actually pause rate hikes, then tech actually maybe has some appeal, and that's what we've been looking at over the first quarter.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised though, looking at the markets today, how sanguine people have been. OPEC have just cut production, bad for inflation, as you say, potentially pointing to more interest rates, and yet more or less everywhere is up again this morning.
I think there's an element of uncertainty about how much this cut will actually feed into real terms cuts. What amount of it is actually already out of the market, what sort of demand kind of destruction we might be looking at. There's a sense that OPEC's trying to get ahead of the story here, it's making a sort of strategic cut here, looking at the sort of instability of oil prices as being a problem, as well as the absolute level of the oil price. It's actually about making sure that there's stability. It doesn't want to see it go from 140 to 35 and back again. It wants it to keep it around 80. So I think you're not necessarily going to see a massive amount of oil coming off the market, and therefore you're not going to see a massive spike in oil prices.
What I thought was interesting overnight was the way the dollar traded, because you normally expect the dollar and the oil price to go in opposite directions, but they actually rose in tandem.
Yeah, I think maybe a bit of sort of chasing quality, chasing safety with the dollar, catching some bid. It had come off a bit in the last couple of weeks. We've seen sterling rise quite well over the last couple of weeks. So I think maybe just a bit of a kind of paring back of those moves, and also maybe a bit of flight to safety, because there's an element that says that if OPEC's doing this, it's starting to panic, it's starting to maybe worry, it's starting to worry about what might happen in a few months' time if there's if this credit tightening that we're seeing from the banks because of the problems that they're having actually does lead to a credit crunch, and what that would mean for the economy.
In the meantime, what are you hearing from investors and clients right now about the situation in Ukraine? I mean, it's kind of dropped a bit down the sort of running orders in the newsrooms somewhat.
It has. I think from financial market point of view, we've seen it unwind most of the sort of the big moves that we saw this time last year, in particular in the commodity spaces, have to a large extent unwound, and there's not the same sort of feeling of the emergency sort of sense of, if you like, the sort of doom and gloom. There's a sense that it's rolling on in the background. It's very sad in a way that it's not seen as important, but once it's all these things are the same, once they're priced in, if you like, to the market accepts that's the norm, then it's just happening in the background all the time, and that's the nature of the markets.
Yeah, Neil, good to see you this morning.
Thank you.
Still to come here on Ian King Live. As broadband bills rise, I'll be speaking to one company that says it won't.
Hi, I'm Dr. Donald Palmer, and I'm an immunologist. COVID-19 is still with us and making people ill every day, but it's not too late for all adults to book their first or second NHS COVID-19 vaccination. To get these vaccinations while they are still available and protect yourself and those around you, visit nhs.uk/COVID vaccination or call 119.
Tune in to On Point here on Star Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness.
So what did that?
Myself and the wild just.
And 2019, forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on the CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Star Radio.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820, or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
The best radio show.
Broadcasting live online.
Body is your man. Bekutu show them you got the coco set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Star Radio. We don't go nowhere in UK. London. We they call them London for who? We're here. We they call them London. And I said you know, just have fun and stay blessed.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Star Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
This is Star Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you are listening to Star Radio UK and the Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio. This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio.
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat. You make a doubt they fade. Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the world in your hands. The hand that made me who I am. Same God now, yesterday, and forevermore. And that's what makes you great. You are love. You will never change. You remain the same to the end. To the end. You are love. One who took my pain, took away my shame. Lord, you reign. That's why forever call you great. Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. Great is to be praised. Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord.
Okay, let me say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We want to salute each and every one of you and say welcome to the Monday edition of the Morning Show. Today is the third day of April, the year 2023, with the time now 10:44 from the House of London. Hope that you enjoyed all the stories that came your way from across the globe via the Sky News. Now we continue with the in-house morning show. Let me say good morning to the team this morning. Mr. Frank Davis, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, and my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy, in the house as well. Konjadi, massive good morning to you. HRH in the Parliament, good morning to you. Felix, good morning to you. And then to the one and only Mr. Dan Tabiri, CEO of GIL Accountancy Services, and Mrs. Evelyn Tabiri, and all the girls, Ajwa, Abna, Ishira, and Asida. Hope you all doing very, very, very well. Yesterday happened to be the birthday of one of our mothers in the church. This is Akose J. Or Akose Kwao. We salute you, we salute you, we salute you. As your years so shall your strength be. And interestingly, today happens to be Pastor Alex Kwao, J. Kwao's birthday as well. So the wife comes first, then he follows suit. It's a happy birthday to you, man of God. May God continue to bless you and increase you. And any one of you celebrating any special day today, I salute each and every one of you as well. Let me also take this opportunity to say good morning to Bishop Adesina Anthony Adedeji. I think back of you to say, Mr. Chen from Pong, until I salute each and every one of you. To all the parents at home with their children there who are enjoying the Easter holidays, I salute each and every one of you. And if you're stuck in the traffic on your way to France or to Europe and you are in any coach or anything, continue to listen to Starr Radio. Okay, let us make your journey a very joyful one. We're transmitting live on all the social media platforms and on our own app, the Starr Radio UK app. Okay, so let's crack on now. I'm going to bring you the quote of the day, the weather forecast to follow suit, and the travel update as well. We continue from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, known as global trotting. And then we'll continue with updates from Nigeria. But today we're not going to have Mr. Olaimi Koiki live here in the studio. We're going to be looking or seeing some of the, or looking into some of the stories that is put across that we'll be touching on as well. And then from there we'll move on to other parts of the world as well, looking at other stories making the rounds. And as I do say, from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar, it is making the headlines. Why not? We're going to touch on it. So buckle up, sit up. You want to have a cup of tea or coffee, whatever is applicable. Just have it. You want some cold drink, have it. And let's take this journey. Starr Radio UK. But if you don't know now, you know. I remain yours sincerely. The quote for the day says, in this .com era, one needs to be competent by acquiring quality education, because if you lack it, it will be difficult to succeed. Alright, so let's move on. Let's read on to the weather front for London and the southeast of England, and those of you as well, you can also share with us what is happening there. But today there's going to be what? Nice sunshine, and it says that it will be dry and fine afternoon with plenty of sunshine for all, and just a few patches of cloud around, staying dry into the afternoon with sunshine becoming more widespread. Now tonight will be a dry and calm night with extensively clear skies and little to no cloud around. Another chilly night expected under the clear sky. Temperature is going to be 12 degrees, the lower is going to be 1 degree. Pollen level is going to be moderate, UV level moderate, and pollution low. Sunset 1937 and sunrise for tomorrow morning 0632 hours. And that brings us to the end of the weather forecast. It is Starr Radio UK. Let's take a quick break and I'll bring you the travel update. Stay tuned, don't you go away.
Hi, I'm Dr. Donald Palmer and I'm an immunologist. COVID-19 is still with us and making people ill every day, but it's not too late for all adults to book their first or second NHS COVID-19 vaccination. To get these vaccinations while they are still available and protect yourself and those around you, visit nhs.uk/COVID vaccination or call 119.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, keep your eyes on the roads, and keep it updated, I promise our bond, as we do every day, bringing you what is happening in your travels or on your travels here in the UK. But let's start from London. Okay, so when it comes to the underground this morning, the Jubilee line has got minor delays due to train shortages, and then the Metropolitan line has got minor delays between Moore Park and Amersham due to train cancellation. The next departures from Amersham will be at approximately 10:52. So in the next 2 minutes, a good service on the rest of the line though. All other underground lines, good service. DLR, good service. London Overground and London Tramlink, good service there as well. But moving on straight to the major roads in London. Now, A24, A4, Central London Red routes have all got closures. Now, A40 serious delays. Let's move on straight to the river bus, where I can tell you assuredly good service throughout. And on the London cable car, good service there as well. But to the final segment of the travel update, the National Rail. Now, Avanti West Coast has got minor delays. Cross country, East Midlands, First Haul trains, First Transparent Express, Great Western Railway, Northern Rail, and Thameslink have all got minor delays. Riverside Chiltern Railway Special Service and Transport for Wales Special Service. All the others, good service there. That is why I bring the updates to a close. But I will say unto you once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your comments for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the road.
Hi, I'm Dr. Donald Palmer and I'm an immunologist. COVID-19 is still with us and making people ill every day, but it's not too late for all adults to book their first or second NHS COVID-19 vaccination. To get these vaccinations while they are still available and protect yourself and those around you, visit nhs.uk/COVID vaccination or call 119.
Tune in to On Point here on Star Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Star Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program. It is Star Radio UK, and it is the Monday edition of the morning show, the third day of April 2023. So we've the first quarter all ended nicely. Now we are in the second quarter, the third day. What about that? What have you achieved from the beginning of the year to now? Yeah, maybe there have been some failures. Don't you worry at all. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and just prod on, as Felix will say. So let's get on. Let's get it on. Somehow we get it done, don't we? All right then. So now let's move on. As I did say, we will bring you the updates from Nigeria in a moment, and then we will bring you all the stories that's making the rounds across the globe. 12 o'clock, the lines will be open for you to add a voice to the discussion. At 12:30, we'll bring the first part of the program to a close, and then we'll take you to Cyprus, where our own HRH Linda Pallian is to bring you Career 101. So wherever you are, that is what is going to happen today. Linda, once again, good morning to you. Yes, she's going to tell me afternoon. It's not afternoon yet. She's got a few minutes to go afternoon. But good morning to you. All right then. Okay, now let's move on straight to some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. Now, more strikes planned as teachers reject pay offer. Members of the National Education Union in England will strike on Thursday, the 27th of April and Tuesday, the 2nd of May. Interesting times. And Russia anti-war activists detained over cafe blast. A 26-year-old woman is held after Vladimir Tatarsky died in an explosion at a St. Petersburg cafe. Okay, more going to be coming your way from there. We saw that explosion that took place. Now, Wagner raises flag in Bakhmut as Ukraine fights on. The stance was dismissed by Ukraine, which said its army still holds the embattled eastern city. But how relevant is the area Bakhmut? How relevant is it? And then, why was my dead neighbor not found for 2 years? Residents are thinking of suing a housing association after efforts to raise alarm were ignored. Oh my goodness. Ew. For 2 years somebody died in a room, or yes, an apartment, and was there. Nobody. See how this particular part of the world is? Well, check up on your neighbors, from time to time. Alright? Okay. Political correctness aiding grooming gangs. That's what the Prime Minister is saying. Plans for a police task force and better data on grooming gangs, including ethnicity, are being criticized. Now, what do you think is the way forward? The other time we were talking about police and the fact that the inquiry that was done that actually lambasted them big time. And I was asking myself, as a community, what do we do to sort this out? Because night crimes, moving of drugs and stuff like that, where children are being used for these gangs and everything. Now, if the police stop them, the police stop a little one who is carrying a knife, they might have stopped somebody from stabbing your own child. Okay? Now, if the police stop them, how do they deal with it? Are we not going to find a way to educate them so that the police are not aggressive when they are arresting our little ones? And then that will say, okay, that is all right. And again, how did they even do the strip and search and all that? I mean, few things there. But if we say that, well, what they are doing is not right, who suffers? It's our own community that will be suffering. So it's a catch-22 situation. I don't know what, but I will want to have your thoughts on that as well. Because with this gang things, and then with particular communities, and they will say that, well, this community, they are behaving this particular way. Because political correct, they say, hey, don't touch them, don't do that. But if we don't do that as well, your family or your children, your girl child, or this time around we don't say girl child any longer, male or female, they might be a prey to them. What do we do? All right then, I would like to hear from you. It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right, now in Nigeria, alleged audio full word for word conversation of Obi Oyadipo emerges. Now, what is the content of that video? And Lagos PDP elder to Jando, don't blame us for pool defeat. And NDLEA declares prophetess celebrity couple for recruiting teenage girls into drug trafficking. And governors EFCC ICPC meet over security votes tomorrow. APC votes suspends Loretta Onechi, the Bauchi chair, and Kosi wins first BB. Okay, and troops kill 11 bandits during gang duel in Kaduna. The other story, for balance in NNPP's hierarchy, Akalai resigns as chairman. We'll tell you more about that. And ethnic profiling unacceptable. Igbos need new leaders. That's what Chima is saying. Lots more going to be coming your way from Nigeria on that front. But wherever you are, don't touch the dial. Last week we were talking about a few times where the Kenyan opposition leader Raila Odinga was calling on his supporters to embark on a nationwide strike. However, he has rescinded his decision, and the Kenyan opposition leader Raila Odinga has called off the anti-government protest there as well. So we'll be looking into that. Rwanda, Kagame re-elected as head of the ruling party. Well, will he win the election? If they come to somebody will say, well, he's going to win it because they are in control of things. But what do you think? The first batch of South Sudanese troops landed eastern DRC. Okay, 92 migrants rescued in international waters of Libya, and U.S. Vice President wraps up visit to Africa. The Sudan disagreement between paramilitary and military delays signing of the political agreement there as well. And South Africa's ANC party officials in Russia ahead of the BRICS summit. Okay, so we'll be telling you more about that. Alright then. Now, when it comes to Ghana as well, fuel prices fall. Royal Star sell petrol at 12.65 Ghana cedis and 11.69 per liter. Okay, and then some other stories on the political front as well. Okay, just bear with me. 4 RSF are attacking police in Western region for extortion, and government quick to introduce taxes but barely account for them. Dr. Asa Asante is also saying. When it comes to some political stories, presidential appointments have become means for creating jobs for party. A lack of bipartisan consensus, ban of constitutional amendment. Inusa is also saying that investing in the grassroots. Dr. Dufour unveils plan for salary structure and pensions. Well, some are saying that he's old, too old. He should just go and rest, enjoy his money. But he thinks that, look, I've got something up my sleeve that I can give to Ghanaians to better their lives. Why not? Well, we're talking about the main contenders for the opposition, the biggest opposition party in Ghana, flag bearership position. We'll be telling you more about that. Government using economy to blackmail MPs. Gachi is also saying that. So those are some of the stories that we're going to be looking at. Stay tuned. Don't go away. It is the morning show, the Monday edition of the morning show. We're going to take a break. We're going to bring you some lovely tune, and then we go on from there. This is from Edith Morrison. And what I got to say, it says, Lion of Judah. Now, sampled it yet, but I hope that you enjoy it as well. Enjoy.
Lion
Jesus is his name.
Yes, something from the one and only Edith Morrison. And it says, the Lion of Judah, the Lion of Judah. Okay, I thought up. I hope I've made your morning a very good one there. And let me say good morning to Edith as well for that lovely tune. And then to Pastor Tudor Abuachi answer. Asantua, I call her that way. Yes, it's only the two of us. I can call her that. You can call her that. Okay. Pastor Tudor Abuachi answer. I say massive good morning to you and to the family. And the Pearly Gate Church in Oxfordshire, we salute each and every one of you. But it's now time for us to look at some of the details of the stories making the rounds in Nigeria this morning. Okay. Now, let's pick this one first. The controversial leaked audio phone conversation between Labour Party bannerman Peter Obi and the founder of Winners Chapel, Bishop David Oyedepo, over the 2023 elections has shaken the social media space. So if you have listened to that, what did they actually say? And what do you think about that? As reported in some of the newspapers, Obi was heard soliciting support from the renowned cleric as he described the 2023 elections as a religious war. Okay, so I was trying to play the religious card there. The controversial conversation between both men has sparked much controversy among political actors, pundits, and enthusiasts. Now, Obi spokesperson Kenneth Okonkwo, who reacted to the leaked audio, said it was taken out of context. Meanwhile, Obi supporters have said the audio had been doctored and lacked originality. An Instagram post there'll be a few some are trying to capture the conversation there, but good morning daddy, that's how Obi said, and then the bishop says praise the Lord, how are you sir, fine daddy, good morning. Now you want to know more? I think those of you in Nigeria, most of you have read that. Okay, now bishop, it's a lengthy one. It's a lengthy discussion. But what do you think about what? Reactions have continued to trail the scandalous audio conversation between Labour Party flag bearer Peter Obi and the Living Faith Church worldwide founder Bishop David Oyedepo. The alleged conversation became viral on Sunday, April 2, when it was leaked on social media, raising eyebrows, anxiety, and skepticism amongst political players, pundits, enthusiasts nationwide. Okay. So does that mean that it's actually ruining the chances of Peter Obi come another election? As contained in the audio, conversation between the duo, Obi was heard soliciting support while making some alleged religiously inciting comments, stating that this is a religious war to sell his campaign to the renowned spiritual leader. Some of the newspapers have reported. Bishop Oyedepo, in response to Obi's appeal for support, said, I believe that, with Obi replying, if this works, you people will never regret the support. Now, meanwhile, Obi's media aide, Valentino Obianye, said Obi's foes perpetrated the alleged phone conversation. He alleged that the audio had been edited and didn't have the complete conversation and what led to the discussion. Bishop Oyedepo, while reacting to the audio during his Sunday sermon, said he has never campaigned for any politician or political party in his life. In his words, he said, I have never campaigned for anybody or spoken on anybody's behalf, and I will not do that till I go to heaven. There is no political party in this country that didn't come to me for prayers and advice. On his part, Senator Chimaroke Namani, a strong critic of Obi, accused the Labour Party presidential candidate of planting the seed of religious and ethnic politics in Nigeria. He said he fed our people with a sacred apple, and Nigeria may never be the same again. What was in the whispers and hush tones, Peter proclaimed loud in decibels in cathedrals and holy sepulchres. Well, interestingly, meanwhile, some Nigerians took to a social media space to react to the scandal, airing their different views and opinions on the issue. Now, Another tweet by a user identified as Saki accused the APC of plotting the whole scheme to dent Peter Obi's image in the northern region of Nigeria. It wouldn't surprise me if somebody did that. Similarly, another tweet by Democracy Watchman read, the APC propaganda machine has come out in full force to character assassinate the Peter Obi and cause him to lose in the court of public opinion. But this generation is different. Well, so we see, I mean, what has gone on and what if everything that has been said, do you think that Peter Obi will be in a position to rescue his image that he has, or has that actually dented everything? And as some of his spokespeople have been saying, they reckon that the conversation had been doctored. Okay, it is already okay. Lagos PDP elders to Jando is one of the other stories making the rounds there as well. Why are they jandoing to? What are they jandoing? As a friend would say. Well, I'm going to tell you more about all that in a moment. All right then. So. Okay, just bear with me. Just bear with me whilst I try to get all that on. Okay, so now moving on straight to some of the other stories. Now, Lagos PDP elders to Jando don't blame us, as they have said there. The story says elders in the Lagos State chapter of the People's Democratic Party have warned the party governorship candidate in the just conducted general election, Olajide Adediran, popularly known as Jando, to desist from denigrating the party's leaders in the state. The elders of the party, in a communique signed by the 22 of them, who included Chief Olabode George, Senator Kofoworola Buckner Akere, Narcis Onikepo Oshodi, Dr. Charles Akitoye, among others, stated that we hereby state that henceforth Mr. Olajide Adediran, the PDP former governorship candidate in Lagos, should desist from further denigrating leaders and elders of the party, contrary to the provision of the section 58 subsection 1 or IH of the Constitution of the People's Democratic Party as amended in 2017. That we recognize that the fact that as a new member of the party, Mr. Adediran may not be conversant with the cow chest. Okay, so that is it for the PDP there. What do you think? Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, some breaking news that has also come through pertains to heavy protests that has rocked INEC office in Port Harcourt over election results. Now, members of the People's Democratic Party in Rivers State on Monday protested at the office of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Reports coming through said that protesters demanded the joint inspection of the certified true copies of results sheets used in the February 25 and March 18 elections in Rivers State for the parties tribunal cases. The demonstration was led by Deputy Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Edison Ehi, who was re-elected in March 18 election, and Samuel Wanunosiki, the chairman of the Ikwere local government area. The protest caused heavy traffic at the GRA junction and Waterlines junction, axis of the PH Aba Express Road. More coming away from Nigeria. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In another story making the rounds in Nigeria, troops have killed 11 bandits during gun duel in Kaduna. The troops and special forces of the Nigerian Army have neutralized 11 bandits during Gandur in Benin Gwari Council of Kaduna State. The Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruwan, said feedback revealed that troops advanced to several locations and dismantled terrorist camps in Bugoma, Rema, Bugai, Dagara, Sabonlayi, Gagumi, Kagangi, Katakaki, and Randagi. It's mouthful there. But in a statement, he explained that in the course of the operation, troops made contact with bandits at the Kakangi and Katakaki area. The gun battle subsequently ensued, resulting in criminals being subdued. 11 bandits were confirmed neutralized as others fled or one submitted. The commissioner added that after the battle, troops exploited the location and recovered 2 AK-47 rifles, 2 AK-47 magazines, and 57 rounds of ammunition. 6 motorcycles belonging to the bandits were destroyed during the during the encounter. My apologies. Now, receiving the report, now Governor Nasir El-Rufai expressed satisfaction at the emphatic outing by the security forces and praised leadership of the Major General T.A. Lagbaja, the GOC 1 Division and Force Commander of the operation, well punched. The governor lauded the troops for their consistent and spirited efforts as he urged them to build on the momentum of this notable success. It is Starr Radio UK, updates from Nigeria. In another story making the rounds this morning, governors, EFCCs, ICPCs are meeting over security votes tomorrow. Now, the security issue in Nigeria has been something that is quite troubling. The controversy surrounding the management of the security votes by governors is subject matter of a meeting between the state chief executives, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, and Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, the ICPC, tomorrow. Other agencies that will be part of the parley convened by Nigeria Governors Forum, this instance of Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit and the NFIU, to iron our thorny issues for better options of managing the funds Federal Inland Revenue Services and Central Bank of Nigeria. The gatherings, according to an invitation issued by NGF Director General Asishana Bayo Okaru, will be virtual. The meeting will be also considering deepening management and expansion of the nation's cashless policy. Interesting. Now, also on the agenda is a consensus on harmonizing and updating national tax collection, business entry standards, and requirements for response to Financial Action Task Force, the FATF, and the European Union, that's the EU grey list in which Nigeria appeared. So this time around, they're going to do something when it comes to our financial security. Now, what do you think? It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, during a couple of weeks ago, when the gubernatorial election took place in Nigeria, well, Lagos had reconfirming Governor Sanwo-Olu for his second term in the position in Lagos State. Now, the Chief Press Secretary to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, Mr. Boyiga Akosile, has assured the residents of the state to be ready for a lot more goodies from the governor and his deputy, Dr. Obafemi Hamzat, during their second term in office. He said Governor Sanwo-Olu, who is very happy about the people of Lagos, state giving him and his deputy a mandate for the second time in office, will meet the yearnings and aspirations of millions of Lagosians through the administration. Themes Plus Agenda. Now, Kisile spoke on Friday night during Inside Politics with the CKM and political interview program, and said Sonio Lu spokesman said the governor, who has made a lot of huge investment in transportation, education, health, entertainment, security, environment, civil service, technology, and other critical sectors in his first term, will do more during the second term in the delivery of the dividends of democracy and good governance to the people. He said the governor stated on a journey with a 6 pillars themed agenda, which are traffic management and transportation, health and environment, education and technology, making Lagos a 21st century economy, entertainment and tourism, and security and governance. The governor has made very huge investment in all these areas, and part of our achievements in the first term, which we have not even ended, is the commissioning of the Oba Sekumade Road in Ikorodu, commissioned on Friday. The question is, how long would that particular project, that road, last, because of all the cutting of corners just to get it there? Some brown envelopes going from left to right and all stuff. What do you think about all that? Lots more going to be coming your way. 11:22 the time. Starr Radio UK station. The morning show, the program. Updates from Nigeria coming your way this morning. Wherever you are, don't touch the dial. Now, EFCC, a final one, have arrested 17 fraudsters. But you know, when now politicians and when these bodies go arresting some small hooks, will say, oh, you know what, they are fraudsters. Why? Because they make some few naira from. But there are people who are actually siphoning or siphon. I don't know whatever term that I can use that would be very stronger than what I'm using at the moment. They are there actually sucking the blood out of the nation and its citizens. They are not touched, and the little ones, that's the ones that they go after. If you really think that you are doing some work, then go after the big ones as well. What about that? But well, they'll tell you that charity begins at home or start from home, and therefore they are catching the smaller ones, and then by so doing they'll get the big fishes. Now, updates on the Makurdi Zonal Command of the USCC on April 1 arrested 17 suspected internet fraudsters in Makurdi in Benue State. The suspects are there are a few of them there, but I will just leave their names out. They were arrested following actionable intelligence. Now, items recovered from them included mobile phones, ATM cards, laptops, Lexus RX 330 and Toyota Camry cars. Well, they were in a proper operation there. The suspects have made useful statements and will be charged to court soon. Well, what is the okay? That's why maybe somebody said that financial security, they are having a meeting. They're going to have a meeting. Is it tomorrow or what? To look at the way to protect the nation and citizens from stuff like that. But well, a lot more going to be coming away. God willing, during the course of the week. Yes, is the Easter week that we have been ushered into. So we will bring you everything that you need to know. But wherever you are, don't touch the dial. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 11:25 the time. We're going to take a break, I'll bring you some music, and then we'll be coming back to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds from across the globe, with Mr. Frank Davis in the house as well. So wherever you are, don't touch the dial. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Hi, I'm Dr. Donald Palmer, and I'm an immunologist. COVID-19 is still with us and making people ill every day, but it's not too late for all adults to book their first or second NHS COVID-19 vaccination. To get these vaccinations while they are still available and protect yourself and those around you, visit nhs.uk/COVID vaccination or call 119.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Welcome back to the program. Let's now take this music and let's enjoy it. It is from Mika Paris, a cover version, and it says "A Change Is Gonna Come." All right then, a cover version of Sam Cooke's, the late Sam Cooke's tune. Enjoy it, and I'll be with you.
Since it's been a long time coming, but I know
this is Starr Radio UK.
Change gon' come. Oh yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid all around the world. 'Cause I it's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh yes, it will. I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh yes it will. Then I go to my brother. but now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know change don't come. Oh yes it will. Yes it will.
Hi, I'm Dr. Donald Palmer and I'm an immunologist. COVID-19 is still with us and making people ill every day, but it's not too late for all adults to book their first or second NHS COVID-19 vaccination. To get these vaccinations while they are still available and protect yourself and those around you, visit nhs.uk/COVID vaccination or call 119.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'm bringing the time now to 11:35 from the hearts of London. As I say, yes, Mr. Olaimi Koiki on the Easter break. Yes. And therefore, he just send us some of the information that he has got, and then that's what we'll bring to you. But remember, this evening exactly at 10 o'clock, we'll be having Dave West joining you to bring you the Conscious Reggae Time. It's on our apps, or yes, you go to our apps on all the other networks. We'll be telling you more about all that in a moment. Where you can enjoy some reggae time, whether you are up and about or whether you are sleeping. It's nice to still sleep and still be nodding your head or tapping your feet or shaking yourself whilst in bed. It makes it nice, isn't it? Well, Dave West will be here this evening from 10 p.m. to bring you that. And then at 5 o'clock this evening, once again, the NHS time will be coming your way. So make a date with us on this program as well. But now I've got my colleague and co-presenter Mr. Frank Davis in the house as well. Let's go to him. Let's say, Frank, good morning to you.
Good morning to our listeners wherever they might be. Another beautiful April year has come to us, isn't it?
Yeah. Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Hachi. I'm doing very, very well.
We thank God. Talking about April, there was one overhead. I was getting ready, and I overhead on one of the TV programs. A young girl telling, because it was April Fool's Day. Then the mom received. Is it one of this? What was the last one that was held in the awards? This and that was held in Los Angeles. The one that last year, what do you call it?
Did their Hollywood stuff?
Yeah. This guy went to slap somebody.
The Grammy.
No, that's not the Grammy.
The one Will Smith
went to slap. I've forgotten that. The Oscars. The Oscars. Yeah. And then the mom won. One of the prizes. Yeah. There. Now this young girl decided to play a prank on the mom. Wrote a letter and said that we are sorry that the award that you received was by mistake. It has to go to the right person. Blah 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 blah. Signed by the chairman. And then sent to the mom. So when the mom saw it, she was shocked. It was like, what? I received that everything, the celebration and everything that has gone on. Now I received. Then later on, the child said, the child is just 11 years, Place a prank on your mom. I was like, whoa.
That was good.
Yeah, that was a good one. But you know, gone are the days where you 1st of April, then you have people playing pranks. Now people are too serious, so you don't play that prank. Someone will come and punch you. Well,
yeah, I received one. It has to do with the gay stuff that Parliament
in Ghana.
Yeah, the Parliament has passed a bill, the anti-gay bill.
I see.
So you know the way Ghanaians say, you jump, you open it and it tells you, sorry, April Fool. Anyway, it was done nicely in words.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Well, listen, some of it's fun. It's fun. But I think we've gone past the place where you have to be playing serious pranks. Someone can say, your parent, maybe your mother, your father is ill, serious. Then people will drive, and then another time you go there.
It's dying down. It's dying
My
down.
goodness.
Yeah.
You do that to me. I think that I'm going to. Well. It is Starr Radio UK. Now let's come to some of the stories that is making around. There's this. I won't call it. It's a story that is happening in Nigeria, and that pertains to Peter Obi. Now, the information that is coming through says that they captured a conversation. There's a leaked conversation of an alleged conversation that took place between Peter Obi and the what do you call him, Pastor Bishop Oyadepo. Okay. Now they are looking at what the content is, or because some are saying that it might be that it was doctored, and any audio tape or any that goes viral straight for the defense, people come and say that it was doctored and stuff like that. I mean, it was saying that they should the campaign or the election that took place last year was something to do. I said last year. It was just a few months, weeks ago. Was one that was pertaining to religion, because they're looking at what has been happening in the north. The fact that if you are even in the south and you decide to go and establish a business there, if it doesn't conform to the Islamic this, and then they will come after you and stuff like that. So it was of the view that look, this is something to do with religion. Do a campaign on my behalf, and once I win, you people will not regret. And it's been leaked.
Actually, I've listened to that tape. That is, if that is correct. I told you I belong to a lot of Nigerian groups. Yeah. Actually, what is in that tape that is so, so criminal? I have it on my tape right now. I have it on my phone right now. Probably might have to play it. Because at the end of the day, actually, someone telling someone he considered daddy, and he was referring to him during that conversation about that, and appealing to him that he should speak to people to help him. When people go on the stage to campaign, what do?
Appealing to people.
When they go to visit chiefs, mosques,
appealing to them to convince their people.
So what is wrong with him appealing to the people? And what is wrong with that saying that look, we need in Nigeria that will be one? They didn't hear about that. Actually, I am not a fan of Oyadepo. I am not a fan. But if what I've listened to is what people are complaining about, that basically it was a religious campaign that was waged. What was the reason Tinubu gave when he was selecting Muslim? What did Bishop said in that tape? That is not fact. Have we not had churches burnt? Have we not had people hacked to death in the north? Have we not had businesses that belong to the northerners, that belong to the southerners collapsed and driven out? Have we not had situations where you go to set a building and they tell you are from the south, go back? I mean, basically, what is in that conversation that is criminal? I want someone to tell me. Because at the end of the day, from what I've listened to, there's nothing there that was said that is criminal. Appealing to someone to speak to the people, and the bishop saying, I've released another article, and I've released one article, and I'm releasing another one. The bishop should know that his churches cannot strive in the north, and what has been going has not been striving. And therefore, if he's calling for one Nigeria, what is criminal about that? Actually, it's just a matter of trying to divert attention for the main issue, which is the rigging that took place, and therefore they trying to find any explanation, any way of tagging someone. I mean, all they are leading to is to try and arrest him to say that he incited tribal violence. That is the plot. To arrest him and say this is an incitement against the law. Or probably you are basically trying to invite people to come. I mean, actually, it makes no sense.
But do you think that will actually have an impact on the appeals or the court proceedings that is taking place?
I mean, the court procedure is looking at processes and procedures. That the law, this is what the law says, that when we go to vote, step one, someone must queue in, because this is not about bill. This is not about this is about the law, and this is about the respect for the law, and how well we value individuals who basically respected the law. I mean, Donald Trump tomorrow has to appear before court. It's not about respect for the law. At the end of the day, you told that the law says that I must get my PVC. I recall that even in this country there were campaigns, go get your PVC. People have to travel from all the way here to go and vote. Assuming I've paid a 2,000 with my state to go and vote, and you are telling me that after voting my vote does not count. You've cost me financial loss. You should have told me, don't get PVC, your vote will not count, don't waste your time, don't waste your money, but do not lure me into basically a kangaroo kind of system that this is basically not what we're going to use to declare the result. I waste my money, I come here. So the tribunal, in my view, is a test the people of Nigeria against people who are supposed to be the custodians of the law, who have taken the public money and supposed to see to it that the right thing is done, and who are supposed to implement the law according to the letter. So for me, it should never impact on what you call it, the tribunal case at all. Look, you told us we queued. You told us when we vote, we'll count our votes at the polling station. They counted. In some cases, it was all kinds of bandits came and took it out. Now, at some point, you told us that after counting, the results will be declared at the police station. The results will be declared will be uploaded at the police station to the beavers. That's what you told us. Biometric verification. That's what you told us. Now, in my police station, I voted, I queued. Thank God enough. No bandit, no criminal came to take this thing away. And when it was time to upload the results, you told me the machine was not functioning. You told me you didn't give the password. Now, when they declared the results also, we took a picture because we knew it was signed over there. Now, when we check our polling station on your system, we got 100 against A, 50 against B. But when we check on your system, 100 has now become 1,000. 50 has now become 5. Prove to us how that
you came by that.
Basically, I don't know whether how you actually, whether it's combination, permutation, or whatever.
Permutation, a special permutation.
I mean, how? Whether it's indices or what kind of mathematical formula did you use to get 100 to become 1,000? And then to get the same equation to get a 50 to become a 5. Is it a factor by 10? One division.
But biblical principle. One will change 1,000 to 10,000. How does it?
Okay, then how does it reduce? How do you reduce 50? Can you explain the 51? No. The logic from 50 to 5. So at the end of the day, it should never impact on it. The issue is not in tribunal. So everything that, look, actually, someone sent me the audio. I listened to it. I was like, why waste our time? Why waste our time with this nonsense? It's attention diversion strategy.
Okay, attention diversion. Okay, what do you think about all that? Those of you who have listened to us this morning from Nigeria and across the globe, wherever you are, do you think Africa has gotten to a point where divisions, at times religion or religious one or tribal ones, are causing serious divisions? Do you think that is going to work for us or not? Well, lots more going to be coming your way, so stay tuned. But a final one from Nigeria. Do you think that Nigeria is that polarized that there is no way on earth that they will be able to be one, as Oyadepo was wishing that Nigeria could be a one nation there?
Actually, Nigeria, as we speak now, is very polarized. And my fear again is that looking at their neighbor, especially those bordering the Igbo area, the Cameroon, the Amazonia, and if you look at what has been going on over there, and the fact that there are discussions, or there had been discussions for Amazonia and the Igbo to come together to form a new nation within that enclave, my fear is that if care is not taken, if we do not get a leader who represent the wishes and aspirations of the newer generation, because the older generation have seen, look, a lot of people are alive now, did not witness the 66 or whatever war that happened in Nigeria. It never, the amalgamation of the two countries together, or what, the tribe or whatever together, a lot of us did not witness it. Now what we're looking for is what will inspire us, what will tap into our aspirations and our hopes. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is to get someone who represents the aspirations and hopes of the newer generation. And if you can do that, and the person can demonstrate that, look, I truly belong to Nigeria, I am a Nigerian, and I'm doing everything possible, then we might have a resemblance of the thing. But if we're still going to have the hardlines that okay, North will take the Mayor of Kano will take their hardline, this will also take their hardline. And again, we need to look at the role of the imams, the emirs or whatever they call it, and then the chiefs in the south. We're gonna look at it, the roles they play. If you have those powerful institutions where allegiance and respect for those institutions become something that a lot of people respect more than even the political institution, because how politicians have conducted themselves, then you do have a problem. If you look at this country, the royal, like we said, they play a lot of role in politics. Spain, the same thing. You look at what has happened in Saudi Arabia now, that was more of a different system. They're running, and then look at Dubai again. We just had the naming of someone's son as what they call the crown prince, which means that basically my successor. In Nigeria, we have powerful tribes. How do we bring them under political umbrella? This is what the experiment we do. But at the end of the day, if you come from one of those areas and they are so powerful and you want to play the religious card, then you again sowing a seed that will not lead to probable unity. Actually, I think they need a dialogue. We need a dialogue in Nigeria which will ask a simple question. First, are we Nigerians? Second, what makes us Nigerians? If we are able to answer those two questions, especially what makes us Nigerians, is it the geographical area? Is it the passport? Is it because we speak a language that is, or because we have been colonized before? If we are able to answer that question, do we want to remain? If what makes us Nigerians is not properly defined, and we don't go back to test whether each of the enclaves identify themselves or can see what makes them in Nigeria in the definition we've given, that's going to be very, very difficult.
You know, there's one thing. Let me just digress a bit from our discussions. That you look at the way our countries were formed, okay, and then you look at colonial masters looking at this place and say, okay, we see that this side to you, we will take this one, and then they did all that, forcing them together. Now you know that in some cases it's not working at all. People feel marginalized, everything that is going on, and they think that, look, we want to go our own separate ways. Now there isn't anything in our constitution that allows that. In the Nigerian situation, people are saying that what brought the various tribes together, or the nations together, that particular agreement has expired, and therefore there's a need to move on and really look at it and see whether people still want to belong to the union.
Actually, the way the constitution is structured, I don't know much about, but most of them are modeled around the British constitution. Although the British gave us a constitution where they don't have any constitution, they don't have a written constitution, so everything on a daily basis is by looking at what is happening, how do we troubleshoot it, and then actually, in my view, whether we should go together on we should go separately or not, we have to, we have to look at why are we going out of our separate ways. For every relationship, if one will divorce, we need to have reasons for that. If not, even the courts will not annul those marriages.
Yeah.
Now, why are we going our separate ways? And if you listen to a lot of Yoruba people, if you listen to a lot of the Igbos, it's all about resources.
Yeah.
It's all about utilization of resources. It's all about a fair and equitable distribution of resources. And it's all about the fact that people who, claim to have the resources are now being, basically, are being rejected in their own area, and the resources being given to different people who are enjoying it and other things. And then the structures we've put in place to systematically discriminate against the people, even in benefiting from whatever
resources.
Actually, those are the conversations that we've been having. If that is the case, is there a way we can restructure Nigeria? Is there a way we can look at, oil block, whatever is coming from this area? How do we? In my view, I've always maintained that in distributing side resources, we should make provision for those who live in there, because to a large extent they suffer the consequences. If you look at
degradation, whatever is going on there.
If you look at the goods that we talk about, good for oil and whatever, good, all this nonsense and all that stuff. Actually, the people who are suffering from this good exploit are those who live in that enclave. For me, if you look at the other time, there was an explosion. Those who suffered are those who
that area. I've forgotten that area where they say they are reconstruct.
Takwa area. So at the end of the day, there must be a bit of benefit for them for suffering the consequences of that. Someone also asked, the Akwapim area, the mountainous area, because that's where the Basel machine started in 1835. They produced a lot of teachers, and they always tell you, the education, we produce a lot of teachers and then educated us. Yes, I understand that. But at the end of the day, we're gonna look at people who incur, basically who suffer most from some of these things. And I do believe that if Yorubas are those suffering, if the River State people are those suffering, then there must be a compensation, a kind of compensation for them from what we're getting. You look at Ghana, one thing they did, which for me I applaud Atama's decision, what a percentage of whatever oil revenue was supposed to be, what I call it, royalties or whatever. Go, they do something like that. You see, the only problem you have with the gold system, they give it to a chief.
It does not go to the Ashanti king.
And the Ashantis and the chief over there does not use it to
the community.
That is it. They do different projects, but you see, it is not linked directly
to the people, so that people can say we are
corporate social responsibility. It's not over there. The people in River State or whatever state who are actually suffering, the Ghanaians and others suffering, actually they deserve. If there's an oil spill, who suffers more? They will do that, right? They will do that. And then the other thing you have to look at is, people in the north should not think that because we have the power and therefore we can use our cattle to bully anyone and then do whatever we want to do whilst we're preserving our environment and other things. Meanwhile, when the southerners come there to do business,
you don't allow them.
Don't allow them. Actually, they need to have this conversation openly. They need to have them openly. And people who are actually the perpetrators will now have to understand. They say, when you harm someone, the person who suffered the scar or who has a scar, they basically remember it, live with that for long. So they need to have this conversation openly, the north and the south, the middle, but they need to have an open, frank conversation. We know the north cannot possess the resources that the south have, and the south can also not possess the resources that the north has. Geographically, we know God distributed resources differently, because there are certain things in the north that the south need. Are you getting me?
Right.
There are certain things in the north that the south need urgently. So at the end of the day, how do we ensure that, whatever resources that are coming, wherever they are being exploited from, a percentage at least takes care of the people over there as a compensation for the consequences that they will suffer. If they are not able to have that conversation, I think this what do you call it, a noise about we going our separate way, something that's going to last I mean, even we will die and go.
So we'll still be trying to go our separate ways. Interesting, in going our separate ways, let me bring you straight to the UK. Now, over the weekend, people were trying to. We've gone our separate ways. We're nearly trying to travel to Europe.
Yeah.
And we saw the lock at those who were trying to cross the channel, and the what do you call it? The buses.
Yeah,
yes, at Dover. Now, when the Home Secretary was questioned about it, I'm saying that this has got something to do with Brexit. She says no. But I remember that when after we went with Brexit means Brexit, what happened the next was COVID, and therefore people were locked down. People were not allowed to travel. We didn't see anything of the sort. Last year, when people were trying, we were getting out of it. People were trying to travel. We saw there was a lock there as well, and now we see worse of one. But he's saying that it's nothing to do with Brexit.
What do you expect?
I think they were looking for something to say. It's Labour. Labour have built something.
They're never going to admit that Brexit is causing us a lot of harm. Look, there's a group of people who champion Brexit. We moved after one of the most guaranteed and secured marketing block. They've now told us that because they've signed an agreement with Indonesia, Indonesians, the Caribbean,
China, and some other. There's a new one as well.
So at the end of the day, that arrangement is far better, and those they are calling it what they call the benefit of Brexit. Actually, look at it this way: I drive to your house, and you block that house, that road, and I still want to enter you, come whichever way. Or when I come to your house, it's water that I bring. And that's straightforward. I fetch water, sell to you. Fetch water, sell to you. And then you also sell me, and I block that road. Now, I am going to Francis. I have now signed an agreement with Francis. Say, Francis, can I sell water with you, to you? They say, oh yes, you can. So I send there, I tell you, it's a benefit for me blocking. What sense is in it?
Plus one minus one.
What sense is in it? So these are people who want us to believe that going to look for new markets
is more important,
more advantageous than living a market that has been working, secured, we know is proving. So do not expect them to attribute whatever happened yesterday when we know. But for Brexit, the checks will not be there.
Yeah. You just drive through, everybody just driving and just going.
Me? But for Brexit, the checks will not be there. But they're not going to admit it. So it's left to the people of Britain to make a decision. But we know that they're lying, and their right-wing media will again try to defend them. But we know it's a lie.
Do you think that when we will be saying like what the Scottish have done, the Scottish wanted a referendum, it failed, and they are still calling for another one because of what has happened with Brexit and everything? Do you think we'll have the UK saying that, look, we want to revisit this issue because we think, looking at what is happening, it's not good for us at all?
Actually, it's going to be very, very difficult for now, because these people know that when they go for the second one, is likely to be a loss, because at the end of the day, if Brexit were there before we went for the vote, I'm very, very sure that a lot of them would have opted
So
it's going to be dragging. It's going to drag on for a long period of time. The Scottish National Party is going to continue to push. They're going to do that, but I also do believe that the British are going to resist, or even though the Queen is not there no longer, and therefore a bit of a difficult decision.
Okay, listeners, it's Starr Radio UK. 2 minutes past 12 the time, the morning show. Let me announce the lines open. If you want to hop on, feel free to do so. 0208-133-2257 or 58-0208-133-2257 or 58. If you happen to be in the US, Canada, or the Caribbean area, it's 001-718-303-2737, 001-718-303-2737. You can text or WhatsApp me. It is 075-3966-1744, 075-3966-1744. Our Twitter handle is Starr Radio UK, and email address is info@starradiouk.com, info@starradiouk.com. So let us hear from you. and make your voice heard, as I would say, because at 12:30 we're taking you to Cyprus where HRH Linda Parliament 2 is. So let's move on. Now, moving on straight, one other story that is quite troubling. The other time we were looking at the stop and search thing that is going on in the UK, the fact that people are not happy with, with the young ones, the way they are apprehending and stopping and searching them, and we were talking about the fact that now, let's take our communities.
Yeah.
If a child goes out with a knife, if the child is not stopped, it is my child or your child that might suffer the consequence of we not seeing that child going out with a knife.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if the police happen to stop that child and stop that child or take the knife off that child, my child's life or your child's life is spared. But if the police is doing that and we think no. Why is the police stopping our little children? They should allow them to go scot-free. Then we're having a problem.
Yeah.
Now the Prime Minister has come out to say that Rishi Sunak is setting out plans for a police task force to tackle grooming gangs. Now, you remember the grooming gangs issue that took place, and they were saying British Pakistanis in a particular area where the ones grooming the girls and going on and blah blah blah. And the moment they brought that, they were saying no, because they are Pakistanis, that is why. So they are labeling them as rapists or groomers, whatever term that they can be used. So he's saying that this political correctness has to be stopped, so that we deal with that situation. But again, I know that people in that community are going to also say that you are targeting us because we are from this community, as the black community are saying as well. What do you think?
Actually, in the first place, are they talking politics or they are being real? We have a few months to elections.
Yeah.
We have a local elections coming, which is next month. We know the Conservatives. They want to appear as tough talking. There are two things that they've done. They've announced within the last 14 days, which are election. They are geared towards election. One is to give freedom or to give more leeway to landlords to be able to eject their license without going through the long process within 2 weeks, which for me I think is great. But at the end of the day, the people they are appealing to are the property landlords who are mostly conservatives, the pensioners who are mostly conservative, the pensioners who have invested in properties, and therefore this is election grabbing headache. We also are now hearing that tough on crime. How many times have they not announced tough on crime policies? How many times? Okay, let's look at it this way. When they came in, they wanted a small state. They use the biggest of all the big knives to chop down. Let me use chop, because they actually cut down the number of places. They are not trying to set up another task force. What is the extent? That is it? They didn't have a long-term plan, or what is it? Actually, when it comes to the substantive issue of basically stop and search, actually, the way you stop people is one thing. The way you handle them and the way you treat them is a different issue. If you look at one issue that was reported widely when Simon was involved, that's a 14-year-old boy who had committed no crime, but the way they handled that boy, that 14-year-old boy, even if it's just a simple stop and search, it wasn't warranted. So it's about the way they go about doing it. Are you getting me? But the other thing is, why is it that actually, let's look at it. If records come and we say that in this area we have a population of almost 50-50, the Asians 33%, the blacks 33%, the white 33%, and we know teenagers are always teenagers. They go out, do whatever they're gonna do. And we are told that when the search statistics come, we have a resemblance of, let's say, stop and search, probably 20% for the blacks, 16% for you have a reasonable, we're not saying it should be the same. But when the statistics comes and you see that the blacks are 66% likely to be stopped than a white person, Then you want to question why. When you have images appearing to show that a police will arrive at the scene, see blacks, see the white people as a group, and then go straight to the blacks, and the others will take the white one aside, talk to them, and focus on trying to handcuff or searching the black. Then you ask yourself, no, this can't just not be coincidence. So what it is, that mental setup, that is a mindset, this and that. Blacks are criminals.
Yeah, default
by default position. That's gonna go away. Whatever the Suna is going to do, knife crime and that, we know, yes, we stab ourselves around that. But actually, if you're going to target the gun landlords, yes, the gun landlords and that's fine. But if you're going to set up a task force that's going to go back to the community and then with the excuse of targeting the gun grooming, and therefore start knocking on black young people who might have their nieces and other thing, working with them, probably they're doing something, therefore they are sending them up and down. That going to be harassing, arresting them. For me, that is wrong. Look, I know someone who is a black boy. He used to work on a construction site. He still does work on it, so I shouldn't say even use. It's a long time I saw him anyway. But actually, the guy goes to construction site and he tells me, look, Frank, sometimes they tell me to go back home. Why? I should go and look for cocaine and bring it to them.
Oh wow.
They're quite big boy manager. They got the money. So he's close to their boss. He goes and they tell you go home. You know the guy and they mark the person a present.
So why wouldn't he be doing it?
Are you getting what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, they got the money to buy the cocaine. They use this because if that person goes for the cocaine, go get it and it's coming and they arrest him. What happens? A black again is now labeled as. But you see, there's a power relationship over here. The person is working. The person needs a job. This is a boss who has offered him the job and telling him, look, go get me this. The person might be an adult, but do we call it grooming or what do we call it?
Abuse of power.
Are you getting me? You look at the power dimension over there. Are you getting me? So actually, for me, this noise that they are making is all about elections. That's the way I see it. It's about elections and nothing more than elections. They want to appear tough on crime, tough on immigration. That's why you see that what they call it, Bravma, whatever they call it, Bravma, whatever. I don't even want to. Oh, criminals. I don't. Actually, look. Going to do what they call go on a holiday in
Rwanda and then come in.
And can you even imagine the media she took? Right, BBC was not even invited. Only right-wing media that were invited. It's all about election gimmicks, actually. It's elections.
Wow. You know, now when I go, when you go to the shop, then go and buy, you go to the till, maybe especially the checkout, self checkout, and then you finish. Some of them will ask you, the machine will ask you, do you want your receipt or not? Even if I want to buy one thing, I said I want the receipt.
Oh yes.
I said why?
Yes.
The other time one of the guys, he was at the till. I said yes, I want the receipt. I said I'm black. Yeah, he was looking at my. It was a white guy. Yeah, he was looking at my face. I said yes. Give me the receipt. Yeah, because I will walk out. I pay for it, and the next moment they said, "Oh, because it's black, it's naked."
Yeah, something happened yesterday. I went to a shop with Frances to buy something, and in fact, it was yam that I bought. So when I took the box, normally you pay, then you check. When I was checking, one of the yams, the biggest one in the box, has gone bad. So you are allowed to go. So I went there and there was a lady there. I gave it to her. So she gave me one small and one medium size. So I came and packed. Now the lady, the checkout lady, I asked her, she said, "Oh, but you took one and you brought two." I said, "Yes, because it was
a bigger one, and now they gave me."
And again, there was one of your officials there who gave it to me. So I went trying to enter the car. After parking, trying to enter the car and go. The lady just appeared. What? The lady just appeared. Oh, hello, excuse me. The yam, I've asked and they said no one was there. I said, look, I do not want. I know you're a black girl, but I do not want to get involved in this with you. Okay? for the first time, I'm going to walk back to the shop and I'm going to point to the person who gave me the yam. But the next time you do that, you will not have it easy with me. So I went straight, and the woman was and said, talk to her. I said, look, this is your nonsense. I never want any time I walk to this shop. You have cameras. I never want to be stopped again. I'm not a criminal. And the next time I'm not going to walk, I'm just going to tell me exactly what you want to tell me.
Yeah.
And when you tell me, I'll use it against you in the shop.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know what they think when we are black. They see us, the first default position.
It's criminals come to steal. Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I say it all the time, you can't get it anywhere except here. So share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. Now let's move on straight to other parts of the world. A quick one from Russia. Well, yesterday there was a bomb blast, and I was thinking that we talked about that look, there is a tendency that people inside the country who don't like, we knew before then there are some millionaires or billionaires who have been arrested, who have been incarcerated by the government, opposition leaders and stuff like that. But Russian investigators have detained a woman in the hunt for killers of a pro-war blogger Vladimir Tatarsky in the blast at St. Petersburg cafe. Daria Trepova, 26, was earlier placed in the Interior Ministry's wanted list. On the list, her arrest was later confirmed by Russia investigative committee. Now, the sweet way that they've actually done that, is it something that is going to incite internal rebellion?
Ajay, look, we all try to use different means to basically achieve our aim. And this war that is going, we know the Ukrainians will be trying everything possible to infiltrate the security systems over there. Russians will also be trying the same thing to do whatever they can. So it's a game that is going. With this lady, what we understand is that she went in there and handed over a parcel.
Yeah, a statue.
To this, and that statue was, packed with what we now a time bomb or something, because she was alive. She was able to
able to walk off before.
So it's not like a suicide bombing mentioned and other thing. And we also know that we are now being told this lady was one of those anti-war protesters. What was this man doing? He's not a military person, but he blogs about, what do you call it? A lot of information war has been going on.
Yeah.
If you look on internet, there's a word Ukraine something. They bombard the Western media. If you with what they've done to Russia, we've killed this person, basically to rally support from the citizenry for whatever their officials, let's say governments, are doing. Oh, our taxpayers' money is basically yielding results. What do you call it? The Ukrainians are winning. They are doing this. When we know from that, that is not exactly what is. They are suffering more. The Russians are suffering. We are being told a whole convoy of Russians have been wiped out and other things. And you check the source of the news, it's basically linked to what is coming over there. This morning we have been told that the Russian paramilitary group, the Wagner, have raised a flag
at Bakhmut.
But we have been told Ukraine are saying, they are still holding it. Someone has come to your headquarters or come to St. Petersburg
and raise a flag.
Instead of a white flag after the Pope was gone, they put a blue flag and install something. You say, our prayers are still holding on. Are you getting me? At the end of the day, actually, whatever has gone on, for me, I think the Russians are not going to be very kind to it. They're going to, but you see, again, tells us that you can't go to war and expect everybody to be clapping for you.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, before you know, her boyfriend has even died in the war. Are you getting me? Probably her business has collapsed and other thing. And she got people who might be financing her and other things. At the end of the day, you also have to tighten your security at home. That's what they're gonna look at.
Yeah.
How are we doing our security at home? Are we going to allow more people who support us to die or not? That's what they're gonna do. But for me, I think it's expected. It's expected. Even in this country, after Iraq War, we saw a lot of terrorists coming here. So at the end of the day,
Okay, listeners, it's Star Radio UK. Let's crack on straight to the African front now. Kenyan opposition leader Raila Odinga has called off anti-government protests. We sat here, was it sometime last week, and we're looking at what was happening there. But Kenyan opposition leader Raila Odinga announced on Sunday he was calling off a protest on Monday and would embark on dialogue with the government after 2 weeks of chaotic street demonstrations. Now, 3 people have died and protesters, properties and businesses have been looted since anti-government protests erupted on March 20, alarming neighbors and allies of a country seen as stable democracy in a volatile region. Odinga, who has accused President William Ruto of stealing last year's election, has called for protests twice a week, and one mega Monday on April 3rd will see his supporters take back the country. When I say that, a lot of things goes on in my head. But this is Raila Odinga now trying to say, okay, now I want to talk. Now, it's interesting what is going on there. Both of you were deputies or vices. You stood there. You went for election. You saw the other one rob you. So why didn't you also in authority, why didn't you rob him?
Archie, look, Archie, in my view, this is just a bargaining power. A bargaining power that look, you see how my people are demonstration, you better offer me something or we'll make your government stable. That's the statement he's making. And these are the kind of selfish, inward looking, unpatriotic people we've had as leaders for far too long. Look, he didn't die, some people died.
3 people have died. 3
for self-centered reasons, selfish reasons. He has murdered, basically directly incited people. Kenya, when there was a problem with election, what did they do? They went to court. What prevented Raila Odinga from going to court?
You know that the court might rule against him.
No. But
the last time when he went, the court annulled the election. And
so why can't he go to court again? Why is he on the street? It is not like the Nigerian situation. The court itself has even proven beyond reasonable that Raila will root for you before.
So you should be the first person who want to run to that place to.
So why is he on the street? It's just a matter of trying to say you are a man who came from nowhere. You never knew what. When my dad was buying me shoes, you didn't have shoes on. But here you are, by chance by fluke, you are now the president. I was the vice, and now it is my turn. How did you make it? You see that you share that power with me, and if I were, the president, not even, I'll make him peace ambassador. Who just appoint you peace ambassador at large?
Minister without portfolio.
Peace ambassador at large. We nominate you peace ambassador at large. We pay you. That's fine. That's a sexual candidate. But make sure you tour all the villages preaching peace.
Get a pot CEO. There's no pot there. What else is CEO? Interesting.
But I am not comfortable, and I do not think the Kenyans should allow, or any society at all, we should allow such manipulations to continue.
Now, what makes people believe in things like, because you and I, we look at things, somebody says something and it's not what you have said, because I'm going to read through what you are saying, and even go back into it and see whether what you are saying makes sense before I will act. But we have people who, I don't know whether sycophancy or whether their brains is as Trump said, you use bleach, they use bleach to inject them and something, and they keep on
they believe that what they believe in is the right thing. Some is a disease to some extent. Some have been programmed and we now think like robots, and with spy chips that we can't think for ourselves. That even upgrade of robots are done, but human beings, all we know that this man is from my tribe. I am a Raila Odinga party member. From my grandfather, my mother, we've all supported his father, and therefore his son must be supported. Whether he's fooling, whether he's being stupid, whether he's killing me, I must continue to support him. That takes away every rational being's brains. if you're a human being and you can think, know the right from the wrong, once you get to that mental setup, you basically lose the ability that you can't
reason for yourself.
Yeah, your reasoning power goes down, and we've seen it in churches. It happens. It's one of the most powerful tools in indoctrination. Yeah. So you have been indoctrinated to believe that Raila Odinga is your savior, that your financial problems, your family problems, your problem with your wife and this thing can't come to an end if Raila Odinga becomes a president. That is what we think. That's what we've been preached to. So all our life, our energy, how do I ensure that I destroy everything along the way for Raila Odinga to become? And that's why you see people disappointed. When
they do all that and he gets there and then nothing.
That was some of the reasons. I get it. We do everything because if you listen to politicians, Akufo-Addo told us that, look, we don't have to borrow. Yet it's a council national comedy. I will transform Ghana in 18 months. Factory one district, one factory. I mean, actually, what promises? We must never, within the first 18 months, there must never be a village, any place in Ghana without toilet. They will never be doing so. And that is incompetent Mahama and all those. What did they tell us? All roads asphalted. The only roads are asphalted Chebi Road. Actually, Accra to Mamoto is a death trap.
Yeah, I've been hearing that.
We drove. It's a death trap, Archie. The other time, my younger brother, our rim got at night. We fell into a
pothole.
Actually, those are death holes. They are not pothole.
Wow.
We're using my younger brother's car. The rim
came out.
No, it cracked. It cracked.
Wow.
Actually, so at the end of the day, that motorway is more. By the end of the day, that's not what we're told. And that's why you see today people are disappointed.
But you're talking about people are disappointed. We come into Ghana, people are disappointed. But when it comes to the place where they have to now show their disappointment, they don't.
Okay, that's where the narratives again comes in. We now remind you how bad it. Do you think it's coincidence? That's why. Do you think it's coincidence today on the media? If you look at Ghana, we are now. Yesterday they spoke about how Kuku Baku's father's assets were auctioned.
Yeah.
Right. Today they will tell you about when someone was sweeping someone. I mean, all which our brains is psychological game. There are people who are being paid to look at the next line of convincing you. A pastor. There's one pastor who was arrested, whether we was planted or whether he was the one who was saying Akufo-Addo can never be president spiritually. He's been banned and other things.
Yeah. He went to the radio station when he came out. He said it was weird on him. They arrested him.
You remember?
I remember
that they went to his house and then they picked him up.
Yeah.
Now, who was he talking for prior to 2000 elections? 2020 elections. Mahama.
Yeah.
He was campaigning.
That's why. That's better statement. Yeah.
Now today, after being to sell and come back, he's now transformed. He said spiritually, Mahama has been killed. He can never be president. So you ask yourself, what is within our political system that whenever you are arrested, you come back different? Look at Kuku Anyidoho.
Yeah.
4 years ago, he was bashing Akufo-Addo. He was arrested. Mahama and others visited him. When he came back not too long, he now became good friend of Akufo-Addo. So you ask yourself, what sort of injections go on in there? It's all about indoctrination. So now that we're going for another election, they're not going to tell you why what someone who did not study anything about technology move away from economy to a point where it's now called digitization. What digitization, actually? What digitization?
Well, listen to Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. The Dean of Cape Coast University Business School, Professor John Gachi, has said the government's reasons for taxes to be approved could be described as blackmail on parliamentarians. Now, speaking this morning, the Cape Coast University Dean indicated that the International Monetary Fund has still not approved Ghana after a number of approvals for the bill by Parliament. In the quote, he said, "I think he is just using the economy to blackmail parliamentarians to vote for the bill and to use a section of Ghanaian to press on parliamentarians to approve the bill. We started with e-levy. The government told us when e-levy is passed, everything is going to be cool," he said. Now, e-levy was passed. That was not to be. E-levy should be passed so that we don't go to IMF, and e-levy is passed and we are on our way to IMF. Now, other bills came the same way. We have to do domestic exchange program, and after that IMF will be out. If the domestic exchange is not done, then IMF deal will not go through. Now, domestic exchange was done, and then they say we need to expand the revenue bill, increase VAT by 2.5%. It was approved, Mr. Gachi is saying. Now, is government actually holding parliamentarians to ransom? They're blackmailing them with that?
Archie, I think this government, in my view, has used deception, has used blackmailing to basically deal with Ghanaians. Look, somewhere, if it was somewhere, you can't pass e-levy, tell us you're not going to what they call it, IMF, and go and still remain in power.
Yeah.
By now you'd have resigned.
Wow. Yeah.
You would have resigned. But I'm very appalled with the conduct of NDC MPs, and especially the Speaker of Parliament, about what happened in Parliament on Saturday. Actually, there were, for those who follow politics, they can go and look at what happened on video. There were less than 137 MPs that
in the chamber.
Less than 137 MPP MPs. And what happened, for me, can be looked at as fraud committed on Ghanaians by our parliamentarians. On that Friday, prior to sitting and prior to going to this financial, they had come to an agreement, a negotiation, that look, if you agree to push the the CI in champion to use Ghana card as the only source of verification for voting, if you agree to drop it, then we might support your financial bill. So earlier on during the day, unanimously they agreed that the EC must submit another CI to Parliament. So what was to be laid was pushed aside. So Parliament adopted that we do not want that.
Okay.
So that was a trade-in. Now we also know that question will not be up to 130, or will not add to the number, because the court, he's still in court. The court have actually stopped him from holding himself up as an MP. So NDC will have 136. Now we know not too long ago an MP passed away. Mau. If you have 275 and you divide that, we know in Parliament it is 137, 138.
Yeah.
So if question is not going to, that means that reduce the number from NDC side to 136.
Yeah.
If Kumawu MP has passed, that reduce the number 137.
Yeah.
We also know on that day that an MP who was trying to rush had an accident.
So it wasn't in. So 136.
You know what they did? The person who had a gash on his surface came in an ambulance. They brought him in an ambulance to Parliament, then took him to emergency. So he was not in Parliament. He wasn't in Parliament. Okay? Right. When NDC, when they voted on the first one, voice vote, the speaker carried that the yes people has
won.
Then there's the deputy for NDC stood up And they said, no, I want a head count. When they counted the heads, they declared that it was 137, 4, and 136. Some MPs who did not understand said, how could that be? Because we know ABC are not there. Parliament. Within a short time, the speaker suspended sitting, went in, came back that, look, your lead, I am privileged to some information and your leadership is privileged to it, and some of you the MPs might not know. And there's again, if you demand a head count, they are counting heads. They might not be able to count heads of everyone, and probably they might count heads that might not even be MPs. So the weird and bizarre reasons were given from the seat of the speaker, right? So that bill, the first bill, which is the tax amendment, the excise and custom rate amendment. Then the second one, the deputy stood up and said, look, we want, instead of the division, and division, what happens is that you all go out. Those who, like lobbies, those who are coming through this gate are counted. And those who are coming through the gate. The speaker intervened again. First it was the majority who intervened. That this abuse of this thing, a decision has been taken. We've had a conversation at leadership level, and this abuse of the process, we cannot agree to that. Then the speaker posed a question again. Do you want, there are two things I can do as a speaker. I can get head counts done, or I can do a division. You, the minority, do you still want do you want the head count, or you want? So they start trying to put a bit of mechanisms in place. Finally, we came back to head count, and again they declared 137. Actually, for me, it was an agreement between the NDC and the MPP that, okay, we know we are 136, but you will declare us 137 to win without any challenge, and because of the backlash NDC has faced for approving the ministers, we want to show that 136 voted no. So the minority leader will come and challenge it, but then there is a game they were all playing. This is politics. This is politics. So it's a collective responsibility, but at the end of the day, I agree with Gachi. It is a blackmail that is being done. Now they are telling us that without that, our economy will collapse. That's a collapse. Let it collapse. And in my view, the minority, they do not know how to be in minority, honestly. Because at the end of the day, they got to ask themselves, what are they looking for? Are they looking for power, or are they looking for compromises? If you really want to come to power, then push the government down. There's nothing about nationalistic about this. When especially the government has not done its bits by reducing expenditure, especially at the presidency, what you are doing now is helping them to basically continue to waste, and I believe Ghanaians should punish all of them.
Now, interestingly, I mean, when people are in opposition, we reckon that they don't get funds as those who are in government, the party in government, the way they get funds available to them. And therefore, people will think, looking at their own position, they decided to strike some of those deals so that they can make money. So how can we even actually trust our parliamentarians that they are there to serve our interests? That's been the question on my lip. I mean, lots of people are asking that as well.
That's a bit of a problem, because at the end of the day, when they come and we also want to vote for them, what do? We also demand money. And I remember Jerry raising this warning. Once you monetize our politics, we are the people who suffer. And that's exactly, now Akufo-Addo knows I can buy my way out of it. Parliamentarians also know that I can buy my seat when I get to the grassroots. And therefore, a question, do I make more money by trading my conscience and then go and bribe them at the grassroots and still come back? And that's what seems to be going on.
Now, listen, Starr Radio, okay, our time is God, but let's continue with the conversation now. So how can the constitution be amended such that when it comes to elections, financing of elections? I mean, here I've never seen. I mean, the other time you went to, you were helping in some campaign.
Labor.
Helping in the campaign. I don't think you were giving anything.
Oh no. We even sacrifice our own resources.
Yeah,
that's what politics is about, and that's what politics is supposed to be. That's why you see donations are being raised, party cards are being, and you have to register as a member. You have to continue to pay another thing. It's because you believe in what can be done for you. That is why in this country, when I walk to an MP, he's obliged.
Yeah.
When I walk demanding something from the council, they have to.
Yeah.
Are you getting me? But see, ours is that way, advanced bribery. We sell our conscience, and therefore we cannot even demand what is due to us, what is due us.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if the MP for credit, if we're talking to, you can call and speak to her. That's why she will come listen to you, because she knows that there's no amount of money that she's going to bring to you that will be able to buy your vote. Your votes will come when you actively see her solving your problem, trying to address issue. Jason was actually the mayor over here now. I do not think Jason is going to tell the black community that helped in the north, the Taunton Heath area, the black minority vote that divided the labours to the. I don't think Jason is going to tell, okay, let me pay you everybody 1,000 Ghana, 1,000 Ghana. How many people
can you actually pay? Where will you get that money
it's
from?
Even a crime. It's even a crime. Donald Trump is being prosecuted not because she paid a prostitute, not just that, but because the action influenced how electorates perceived him, and he did that because of politics. You slept with someone in 2006. Why did you not pay that person off until 2016? At the time you were looking to enter into politics. So it's about how money is used to influence people's electoral decision making. You're supposed to go campaign, do whatever. You can buy drinks, but you cannot be seen directly using money to influence people's way of making a choice. And that is what we do in our part of the world, and that's why democracy is not going anywhere.
Now we look at Trump's case. We'll touch on that before we end the program. Now Trump, he should be on his way this morning to New York, where tomorrow he's going to be appearing at the courts. Now the question is, his supporters are the ones even paying, donating money for him to, like, this man is rich, okay, he doesn't need them to do anything, but these are the supporters that are trying to do that. Now where can we get to in our politics such that it is not politicians who are doing that, so it's the supporters, so we are deciding that, look, we want to donate this one to you, and we are expecting you, we hold you accountable when need be. Do you think our politics is going to get to any point?
It's going to take years. That's what I can say. It's going to take years. Because the fear, the worst fear for me is that the most educated people who should champion that are themselves becoming one of the most corrupt and devious people within our society. No one should tell me that a professor will be championing ballot box stealing. In this nation, have told me, I wouldn't have believed it.
Well, you saw a professor doing it.
It happened. No one should tell me that a Supreme Court judge should be throwing away our constitution just because they want to put someone into power. If someone told me that, I would say no. Because you expect some of these people to lead the crusade for the society's reformation and transformation of these societies, but they themselves are not. So at the end of the day, in my view, actually, it's going to take a long time for that to,
Okay, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 12:42 the time, the morning show. We should by this time be in Cyprus, but let's try to touch on a couple of stories and then we'll bring the program to a close. My apologies for that. Okay. Now, former presidential candidate of the Progressive People's Party, Bridget Jogbe Nuku, says Now, MPs should not be appointed as ministers of state. Now, here we see MPs who are appointed as ministers.
Why
is she saying that?
I think actually, I do not agree with her. The reason being that sometimes you need to be able to enhance the debate in Parliament. That is why even our Constitution makes provision for that. That certain number of certain number of ministers must be MPs.
Okay.
Because it helps throw light on the subjects that are being discussed. If, for instance, we're discussing a project, we're discussing a loan agreement, we're discussing, mind you, our parliamentarians are just into loan approvals. That is the core business that they do over there. Loans approval, tax approvals, and other things. If they are debating let me give a classic. Something happened over the last week where there was a debate about routes and projects that have been abandoned in basically Afram Plains. And one classic example was cited of Swami. You recall last year, and again, let's remind our listener, last week I made mention of the fact that when people started attacking the MPs, there was a change. You recall the majority leader Swami was even heckled. Same Chairman Sambusu was heckled about the bad nature of rules in that place. Actually, as we speak now, a 98 million facility that was supposed to be used for certain routes in Afram Plains have been diverted to road works in Suame constituency.
Oh, not even in Afram Plains. They've diverted it
to Ashanti, Suame constituency to work on. Those, because to them, for what they call the majority leader to be tackled by his own people is a threat to their what they call it, the vote. And Afram Plains unfortunately happen to be predominantly voting towards NDC, and therefore they will take it away. And therefore they've done that. There was an issue raised in Parliament on that. People who had the knowledge were able to delve into it, account for it, speak to it. Again, a university which was actually fund was secured, one from Brazil which they used first, the Korean one, funds came, they've diverted it again. The second, the University of Environmental Science and this, which was supposed to be Subanya campus, another one was supposed to be Afram Place. They diverted one campus that was supposed to be in Afram Place to another place in Eastern region.
Wow.
Are you getting me? So at the end of the day, actually, for me, when issues like that happen, assuming a black one, for instance, pick on that, because that university issue, he worked on it. He was in Parliament, he worked on it. Now he's no more in Parliament. But you see, as a minister, he knew exactly what was going on. And I do believe today that there are ministers who are MPs who knows exactly what goes on in their constituency, and probably will be able to give more insight into certain things when they need a right. So I think it's good we have some of them.
But are the MPs, are they given privy to all every information, the details of it? Because we're looking at we're talking about a few bills, we're talking about projects like this, and we talk the fact that this lady is saying that look, they need to concentrate. So the question is, do they have enough time to look at bills that are brought into details to know exactly what has to be done so that they deal with it, or with they having an extra commitment, being ministers, making them that they have divided attention?
At the end of the day, they have divided attention. They don't get paid double, they get paid a little bit or more.
Okay.
They get allowances for that.
Okay.
And that's why you recall there's a double salary issue about Haruna and others taking some loan, because you now it's like you're doing two jobs. And you want two salaries. I do not think that that should be too much for them to do once you're minister. If you look at those who go to cabinet, for instance, they know more about what is going to go on. The MP do have briefs that are coming. They do have briefs, and again at the committee level they're able to get more insight. Their leadership are also supposed to have leadership meetings. Leadership supposed to meet their other colleagues and brief them about that. Yes, some might not be 100%, yeah, but they always have some briefs.
Okay. Listen to Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. With me in the studio, Mr. Frank Davis, I'm Archie, and it's a Monday edition of the morning show. We're going to bring the program to a close in a few minutes' time, but let's try to see whether we can capture a couple of other stories. Now, interestingly, I don't know why I picked on this story. Now, Paul Dankwa, the openly gay first son of J.B. Dankwa of the Big Six. Now, I look at that story and I know the relationship between J.B. Dankwa and the current president. I think they all come from the same, are they families or something? They seem to have some. Now, I ask myself the question, why is Ghana or the president seemingly trying to support the bill? Is it because of his cousin? That's why he's trying to champion that cause, so that when I saw that story, I said, oh really? That's something like that. Is that why they are now advocating and doing all sorts?
I don't think it should be because of him. I don't think it's going to be because of him. But I think Akufo-Addo wants to appear to be British more than a Brit. Like the dad, I mean, was trying to be more of a British more than a Brit. They always want to show that they are more aligned with the West than their elites, these elites. And what they are saying are human rights and others, and being gay is an elevated form of human rights, and therefore it's more of an enlightening process, and therefore a reformation has come where our batty men must rise up and take out the reign of governance and then preach battiness and allow the society to follow. So basically that is what, and again, it's about money. I mean, it's about money, influences. Look, if you do this, we will give you this. But actually, you ask yourself, what's the end thereof? Because at the end of the day, I have always said, I know someone who is gay, right? I know someone who is very gay, and I'm going to say, oh, I will not talk to him again. I can never be gay. Are you getting me? We know people who are thieves. Sometimes we know I'm robbers. We know people who smoke weed. Weed is a crime under our constitutions. But we talk to them. Should we say because they smoke is their own this and therefore it's human right? Okay, what right do you have if I'm consuming my own this? You tell me probably health reasons. What business do I have? What business do you have on my gay or on my body if I want to smoke my head off?
Smoke it in your room.
I smoke in my room. Why do you then come and arrest me in my room if I'm smoking weed in my room, planting it in my house? But if you plant it, they will arrest you. They'll take your health reason. You put more NHS and okay. Who told you those who go to hospital for surgery to be down their anus are not putting strain on NHS? Are you getting me? So if it is human right, then allow individuals to do whatever we please without laws to be able to regulate our activities. Which means that if I'm going to be smoking weed, let me smoke it. If I'm going to be smoking cocaine, let me. If I'm going to be sleeping for a cat, let me sleep. If I'm going to have a pig as a this thing, let me. Are you getting me? But do not choose and when it becomes human rights, it's only human right when it is gay. But it's not human right when a Rasta man is blowing his cushion pin. Are you getting me? I want to smoke and feel like Ray. You are telling me you are arresting me because it's a crime under the law. But when someone's anus is being destroyed, that one is human right.
He decided to destroy it.
Archie.
Well, listen, as a Starr Radio. I know everybody has got their opinions on what we are discussing, but feel free if you want to say anything to do so. We've got about another 8 minutes to bring the program to a close. And now let's go finally to look at the story in the US, and then we bring the program to a close. Okay, breaking news coming through. Finland to join NATO military alliance on Tuesday. The move was prompted by Russia's invasion of Ukraine and comes after Turkey lifted its veto. Okay, so breaking news: Finland is to join NATO military alliance on Tuesday. The move was prompted by Russia's invasion of Ukraine and comes after Turkey lifted its veto. We know Finland has been staying neutral all this while, but they decided, I don't know, for the being afraid of Russia's invasion, or they thought, okay, it's time for us to now get ourselves involved or backed by a bigger body. Well, so good luck to them. All right then, now let's touch on a story that is going to make the front. Now, we did touch on it briefly last week, I think a couple of times. Now, Trump is gearing up for battle at a court hearing. Now, interestingly, we have got the police in New York or line up, making sure that there will not be any misbehavior tomorrow. Now, Trump is going to be living his Mar-a-Lago place in Florida to fly down. Now, we have got supporters, few people that have seen video clips and their support for him. And I look at that, and I look at maybe the biblical David, and I'm thinking, are they looking at him like he's David, he's our king? Yeah, whatever he does, he kills who? He does what? We don't give a monkeys about it. The support that they have for him is so overwhelming. I don't get it.
They are fanatics. They are fanatics. I mean, this is a fake news anyway.
This is a fake news.
What they are doing is fake. It's political persecution, and some people believe it because the law as it stands is difficult to understand. Some people say, "Oh, why did someone just pay someone? It's his own money. He paid him.
Yeah,
he paid him. What's wrong with that? But we do it. I also pay prostitutes. I also do that." You see, they do not understand the link between what he did and the law that regulates the election. I listened to the lawyer for his former attorney, and the explanation the guy was giving, actually, I am afraid if I'm supposed to go by the explanation the guy was giving, the man will be found guilty. Look,
I think it's found guilty. Okay, you go on first, and then come if it's found guilty as well.
The person who testimony they're going to rely on is a lawyer.
Yeah,
he's not the only one. They have been collaborating with another person's statement. There were emails. They've retrieved text messages. They've retrieved phone calls, phone conversations. That the evidence that the prosecutor, they should know the guy they're dealing with is a very, very prominent person. For a prosecutor to dare say we're charging this person, they will not do it if they know 99.900% sure
that
of securing this thing. I said, look, all those who are talking, let them talk. Let the evidence begin to come out. And he knows that about 99% of them who are making noise now are going to shut up. There's a different conversation to be had if you want to talk about, the American image and our democracy, the person does things. But if you want to go according to the law, and this is a state, the state of they have their own laws.
Yeah,
it's a federal system. We're not talking about the whole America.
Nigeria system, not Nigeria federal. This is proper federal.
So the way I looked at it, I said, wow. He said he will not say anything. He has seen some of the evidence because he has to go with the other Donald Trump lawyer anytime. They've sent him. He said, look, he himself was served a questionnaire, and the questionnaire that he saw, the questionnaire that he has to answer, he's never seen any detailed work than that. So anyone thinking that the charge or the prosecutors are just they should wait.
But they're saying that whatever, even if he's found guilty, that will not stop him from running as president.
They've not asked him to stop running, but it can be banned if you violate election laws. You can come. The court can say the children are not fit for a purpose.
Then it's up to the federal election body.
You are not fit for purpose. If they declare you are not fit for purpose for that, what are you going to do? Because at the end of the day, you are violating the law. If you violated a law regulating a game, how are you fit to go and violate to go and play that game again? That's why we show red cards in football. Because you've injured someone. This one, you've injured the system. Let's watch. Let's play.
That's going to be a very scary situation that's going to be taking place. But again, we know that the files, when he was leaving office, the files that were taken to his residence, that is another case that the FBI are going to try to prosecute him on. And the issue there is some files were also found in the current president residence as well. So you know him. The moment something happens, when they were talking about this during the campaign, he was saying, "Oh, let's look at what do you call it? Clinton. Clinton also did that." So you look at all those. He always, like our conservatives here, they will always be pointing finger. Anything that you say Labour did that,
Yeah.
and it seems to be the same template that he's been using there.
Politics, that's what they do. Politicians, that's what they do. So if you don't have a citizenry that are basically, awake, questioning, reading through in between the lines, questioning their leaders, saying, "Oh, this is too good to be true," you're always going to be misled. And apart from, you have a chunk of people that are called religiously fanatics.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, they will follow.
That's not my anointing.
You can put a conservative tag on a snake and then say, okay, this snake represents the conservative today. They know the snake is coming to bite them. Some people will still vote for it because it's conservative, because they cannot come to terms with the fact that they want to vote Labour. The same thing happened to Labour. If you put a cockroach as Labour leader, there are some people who will be the first to campaign. It doesn't matter, even though it's coming to poison their food or do this thing. You go to Ghana, look, you can chop off, put a skeleton and call him and put an MPP JC on him.
Yeah.
And he will always, in certain places, will still get it. NDC, the same thing. So you're going to have fanatics, but there's always a middle. There's a middle where some people say, no, this, and those are the people who always will decide who wins an election. And normally when you're doing your analysis, those are the people you should be targeting. How do you get to them to understand some of these things? And the media play a very, very significant role. And then what sort of media do you have in this country? If you tell the conservative LBC and all those, they are all supporting it. What do you call it, report media, all those things, so it's politics.
Well, is it politics or tricks? Well, Trump says that this is a political persecution that is going to go on. But what do you think about all this thing that we've discussed? This is where we're going to bring the program to a close. But before we go, Frank,
Archie, let's have a very good afternoon.
Says have a very good afternoon, and I also say have a very, very, very good afternoon wherever you are. Don't touch the dial. Lots of music going to be coming your way from our platform here. But as I did announce earlier on this evening, exactly at 10 p.m, we'll be having Mr. Dave West, coming your way with the Conscious Reggae Time. So make a date with her. Why am I saying that? Because I'm looking at the music that I want to play. Make a date with him when he comes your way. Alright then. So let me say bye-bye for now, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Enjoy the song from Stephen Marley. It's the Babylon system. I don't know whether the Babylon system only applies to Africa or what. Now it looks like all across the globe we've got fanatics doing all sorts. What do you think? Enjoy it, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye bye for now.
We refuse to be what you wanted us to be. for no